Ice.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. There are more than 250,000 power outages, Missouri to Virginia. It's made for tough driving, and a lot of flights are grounded. More than 1,300 cancellations so far today. Despite the snow and ice in Washington, Congress plans a joint session today to certify President-elect Trump's victory, 4 years after his supporters tried to block President Biden's win.
A mob infamously entered the Capitol and interrupted the proceedings. Capitol Police say they're prepared this year with increased security measures both at the U.S. Capitol complex and elsewhere around Washington. Those measures will remain in place through President-elect Trump's rally in D.C. on January 19th. And on his inauguration day, the 20th.
That's Fox's Eben Brown. Now, the president-elect is urging Congress to get to work on what he posted on Truth Social would be one powerful bill to bring our country back, to secure the border, unleash American energy, and renew the Trump tax cuts from his first term. House Speaker Mike Johnson tells Fox Sunday Morning Futures.
No one's going to love every element of a large package like that. But there will be enough elements in there to pull everyone along.
North Korea has done it again, firing off another missile test while Secretary of State Antony Blinken visits South Korea, condemning the launch. They handed out the Golden Globes last night. Emilia Perez led the way with 4 awards, including Best Musical or Comedy Movie. The Brutalist got the award for Best Drama Film.
No one was asking for a 3.5-hour film about a mid-century designer on 70 millimeter. But it works.
Director Brady Corbet, courtesy Golden Globes, Dick Clark Productions. For TV shows, Shogun, Best Drama. Hacks got the award for Best Comedy. America's listening to Fox News.
If pain is affecting your life, I have the perfect New Year's resolution for you. Make 2025 the year of feeling good again. The year of moving better, sleeping better, feeling more alive. And do it with Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, it doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. Over 1 million people have turned to Relief Factor. Feel the difference it can make in your life. Give their 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. You can start feeling better in 3 weeks or less. And every day you feel better is a day you live better. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, make 2025 the year of feeling good again. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. This is the first full work week of the new year. Like, it's official. The holidays are behind us. We are back at work. Everybody's going to be back in the office except federal workers. Of course, they don't have to ever go to the office. Yeah. Aside from them, everybody else that's employed is back at the office.
You don't
today.
sound envious at all.
I'm not. No, not at all.
In the least.
No, not at all. Not envious. More.
They got 2 more weeks.
Observant. That's all.
2 more weeks.
Yeah. Well,
now they're going to be quitting en masse.
Yeah, that's what they tell me. That's what I hear.
Yeah, unless Biden's executive order holds up long enough.
Yeah.
I wrote to President Biden over the weekend saying, hey, we need to work from home in the radio industry, too. Yeah. So hoping for that one, too.
Yeah. You know what? Even if your letter or Twitter message or whatever would have gotten to him, I don't think he's coherent enough to understand what you're talking about.
No, he'd just start cursing at me like he did reporters yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
He read your email, your text, anything else, and the first thing he thought about was Big Bird.
That's right. That's right.
He's like, oh, Big Bird. Woohoo.
Which, who doesn't love Big Bird? I mean, really. That's a great thing to default
him
to.
and Snuffleupagus. Like that. He was very excited about these things.
This guy's name's Rhino. I want ice cream.
That's right. I thought for sure. That was just great.
Think about when your brain is so mush that the first thing you think about is, no matter what you read, is Big Bird and Snuffleupagus.
And ice cream.
And ice cream.
No, you're right.
You're like, oh, vanilla.
Rhino.
Wow, amazing.
Like, I don't even remember there being a Rhino on Sesame Street.
Yeah, son of a bitch. Give me ice cream.
That's right. I love it. How was everybody's weekend, man? Mine was it was long because, drove Jacob back to college over in South Carolina, and, it's just drive over's cold as the devil. We left early Saturday morning, got there by, 1 o'clock or whatever, moved him in up until the evening, went and grabbed dinner, slept, got the last finishing touches yesterday, and then drove back.
I don't even care. I want that apple slice.
Yeah, buddy. You want it? It's yours.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you, buddy.
Thank you.
Tug was hungry this morning. I heard him munching over.
Yeah, I was like, it's only down to one apple slice.
I was wearing them out, boy.
It's like, what's up with that chi, Danny? Like, I need that apple slice.
Right.
Did Laura not feed you on the trip?
Yeah.
No, she did, absolutely.
The whole weekend, you didn't even eat anything.
No, it was not
Scarf
like,
and apple.
Let me tell you, it was not like that at all. Those are just the best. This is the best apple I've ever had in my whole life. I'm not kidding. Whatever this bunch she bought, that was in there at the Publix, I suppose. When I ate each one of them, every time I was like,
So you went to South Carolina and you did not get like shrimp and grits?
oh no, we didn't. No, we didn't have time. We went to a Mexican restaurant. It was just something quick. It was right down the
failure.
I know it is.
And now listen, I love y'all too. But if you're in South Carolina, it's like that shrimp and grits country.
I know it is, and I've eaten it there many times. But this time
you're scarfing apple.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't get my shrimp.
I just didn't eat anything.
I wasn't filled up enough. No, I had what they call the burrito loco.
Oh,
and burrito loco is like it's just like like a
the crazy burrito. Yeah, I understand a little bit of Spanish.
Okay, well let's make sure. No, it's got this.
So you understand?
Insulting.
Loco means crazy in
means
Spanish.
you're Hispanic-splaining him.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't mean to.
Don't Hispanic-splain him.
So I bought this burrito grande, which means big burrito.
And it was. It should
His
have been
name
called,
is Carlos.
It should have been called the Grande Loco burrito.
Oh, yeah, they're
because
big.
it was gigantic and delicious, and it was crazy because it had everything in it.
Yeah, that's
chicken.
why they call it loco.
Yeah, that's right. Chicken, steak, shrimp,
crazy.
and then like all kinds of like vegetable. I mean,
So
it was
good.
great. It was the best thing I ever had in my whole life.
Wow.
At a Mexican
Besides the
restaurant.
apple, of course.
Besides that apple, it's the best apple I've ever had. In my
Yeah.
life. I'm not kidding. It is that good.
Man, I love good Mexican food.
Oh, man,
I just don't like I love the chips and the cheese and the jalapenos and the hot
How can
sauces
you not?
too much. So I eat all 5 baskets of chips
know.
before my food gets there. And Mexican, it takes like 3.5 minutes from the time you order for your food to get there. And somehow I still find a way to eat like 10 baskets.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that was my weekend, Rhino. What
Nice.
about you?
Well, pretty relaxing weekend. Unfortunately, girlfriend Erin got sick, so Saturday we were supposed to go to a funeral, but we were unable to make that. So kind of just chilled out around the house, took care of her, cleaned up.
Scurvy?
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah,
Oh.
again. Yep.
Well.
I keep telling her to stay away from the Savannah ports.
Get some lime.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
she is not listening.
No.
She is not heeding your warnings.
But I did well with my dry January. Yesterday was a little tough. We went to watch the Packers game over at a local bar and met some friends up there, and they're all drinking. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not folding. But I was like, oh. And the guy was like ordering bourbon. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? I'm like, water.
Yeah.
So I was really proud of that. And then I did push-ups and sit-ups this weekend during
Let's go.
Yeah. I was like, I got to start getting back in shape. So
There you go.
Yeah.
Dry January is easy for it's like 6 or 7 years, so it's easy now.
Well, you made it like 3 weeks last time.
Well, that's because my birthday is the 22nd, and I
It's
usually
almost
do,
January.
Yeah, right. Well,
I mean, it's like February. It's like, it's only
yeah. I don't
3
even think I'm
weeks.
going to give in for my birthday this year. I think I'm going to carry it out. Which I've traditionally given in on my birthday and had one. Not anything crazy, and it's a Wednesday this week, or this year. So yeah, it'll be easy this time.
We start the real heart of volleyball season, which is for parents. It's drinking season.
Yes, it is.
So we got a tournament this weekend, then the following weekend. So I'm making it a point, like the entire week, nothing. But once we hit Friday, it's on. It's on. Friday, Saturday, it's on.
0 to 6.
Sunday, you drive back.
I got you. Where are y'all gonna be?
North Carolina, Rock Hill, North Carolina.
Okay.
This time. Rock Hill, South Carolina, outside of Charlotte.
Yeah.
And what's weird about it, we all have to pay attention to the weather. Like the weather that's coming in late in the week. If you got travel plans, we all got to kind of figure that out. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the schools in the metro Atlanta area end up being shut down on Friday.
Yeah.
So when you're
Just as
listening
a
to
precaution?
us,
Well,
I mean, that's
smart.
That's the plan as of right now.
I've not been able to pay attention to the weather, so I mean,
we're planning on snow coming through Friday afternoon.
I'm not believing in that. I believe
You're
it'll be
pushing
cold.
it away,
precipitation falling from the
Yeah.
the
Just
atmosphere seems weird to you?
I'm just telling you, I've been here a long time.
We're supposed to get some up in Hiawassee today at noon,
Now
and I'm
that-
like, okay, all right. all
Hiawassee,
right.
maybe so.
Yeah.
I can see that a little bit.
So I'm going
The-
to keep my eye out there.
But the Atlanta metro area, the threat automatically creates it to where parents have to be like, oh my God.
And they'll
so that's
probably
what I
shut down the
believe what's
school.
going to happen come Friday.
So have you thought about taking the girls out early on Friday?
Yeah, we've talked about it, but I mean the way it's looking, and it's awkward in that we're fully expecting that they won't have to go to school Friday.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, after Snowpocalypse, none of us want to be on SNL again. So
Yeah, it's more about getting them home from school is the reason why the concern is going. So we'll see you Friday. Everybody come check us out.
I'm praying for it to hit Thursday so that Friday we don't have to come to work.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when it comes to snow around here, it's one of those things where it's just the word that causes enough panic and enough Buford Callaways, to your point,
we just have to make it a point to management that it is not safe for us to try and get home.
Yeah.
And then you know what happens with HR? They're like, how many lawsuits do we want to face?
Right,
and at that point, we're good to go. Everybody work from home.
That's right. Yeah. Poor Joey.
Yeah.
Poor Joey.
Wait, but I got to drive
I'll
here?
be here with you, buddy.
Or walk.
I'll be here with you, buddy.
Yeah, or walk.
Yeah. Because, first of all, ain't nothing going to happen, so you ain't got to worry about it.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
I still remember when we did have Snowpocalypse.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
I stayed on the air at our sister station until about 9 o'clock that night. And the one person that got in the next day was the one morning show host who had like a V8 in his car.
Right.
He was like, yeah, I do have a problem. I'm like, the rest of us are spinning around on 400 and 285. I'm like, you were the one who was able to get over here.
Goodness gracious. Yes. No.
I prayed for it this weekend, though.
Did you pray for snow?
Oh, yeah. I was praying for, a lot of people and snow.
There you go.
Yeah, I was like, get us some snow. I love snow so much, man. It's just,
I hate it.
it quiets everything. It just like shuts everything up. It's so quiet and beautiful.
It is pretty for about a glance, and then it's awful from there.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. But, unfortunately here, it's ice. Yeah. And I know the temperatures are going to drop really bad. So
now
we get the
ice, we might deal with that.
Yeah,
we might deal with some ice.
And then a covering of the ice with just a little bit of snow. It doesn't even have to be an inch. That's where the problems begin.
I think it's been about 3 years. I had a neighbor, and God help him. I don't know how he held on to this video, but he sent me a video last night, and it was me in my neighbor's hot tub. I jumped out of the hot tub and I did a snow angel on the ground, and probably about 7 inches of snow that we had, just came pouring in. And then I jumped back in the hot tub, and all I could think to myself was, all right, that was cool. It was it was cold.
Yeah.
At the same time, how the hell did you hold on to this video for 3 years?
Yeah, right. That's funny.
It's seriously, dude. I'm like, that's kind of weird. It's an old bathing suit and everything else.
It kind of reminds me of a polar plunge, but in reverse.
Oh, yeah.
Because he went hot, cold, snow angel, and then back
it was 20-some degrees outside, went from the hot tub to go jump into the snow and then back into the hot tub.
Oh,
That's my thought process is, that would kill me. That's a heart attack. That's a heart attack.
I'm not designed for it.
I flat out told them, I was like, seriously, it was really freaking cold. And then right back in. You're right. It's could have been a heart attack.
Yeah, temperatures are going to drop this afternoon really bad after the storm
polar
comes
vortex,
through.
right?
So, the polar vortex is coming.
Better watch
Winter
out.
Storm Blair.
Oh, Blair, we've got her
is
name.
what
and
they're
everything.
calling it as of right now.
I feel like that's a newer thing, naming the winter storm.
Yeah.
I don't remember that as a kid.
No, I don't either.
In the blizzard of 93.
Yeah.
And if anybody's a Georgia native, been here, a long time, you might remember the blizzard of 93.
Oh.
I was stuck down at the Omni. We'd gone to see the Hawks play the Orlando Magic. It was Shaq's rookie year.
Oh.
Man, it was so cool. And then the snow started coming down, and we stayed overnight, and then it took us about 3 days to get back home. It was nuts.
That was a crazy time.
Power was out for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Power was out 2 full weeks here, and all the way from Atlanta. It was a struggle all the way up to Dalton, where I'm from, and it was a mess. But I don't remember it being called anything except the blizzard of 93. It wasn't like Timmy.
they didn't do that.
Snowstorm Timmy.
I still remember Snowmageddon, and I had gone to a business meeting with a potential client. We grabbed some lunch, had a good time. Then it was myself and this one of the guys who used to work here. His name is Rob Renz.
I remember him as a former Marine.
Marine.
Yep,
That was the thing about Rob. Like, you didn't know, like, he didn't tell you all the time about his service, but Rob was like this hardcore freaking Marine.
Yeah.
We got within a mile of the office, and he's like, I can't get any closer. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll jump out of the truck, and I'll take off from here. And so I ended up running back. Rob got within about 8 miles of his house and couldn't get any closer. That dude parked the truck and, as only a Marine would do, ran the rest of the way home.
Dude. Nuts. Yeah.
Like that's like some hardcore stuff where you're like, I'm running 8 miles home.
Yeah, if there's a bear chasing me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta tell you, I think I'd have just
probably
probably
make it
death
2
right
miles.
there in the truck.
Yeah.
I'd have been happy just freezing to death.
Yeah, Rob was like,
Slow.
8 mile run.
I'd
8
rather
mile
not.
run. That dude ended up making it a point to go get his truck like the next day. He's like, then I ran 8 miles back to. I was like, are you kidding me?
No, that seems to be about right.
I whined about getting up to get the remote off the coffee table yesterday.
Rhino,
Dude
exactly.
going 8 miles back and
Exactly.
forth.
In the snow.
Yeah.
No. Freaking
Uphill both ways, too.
uphill both ways. That's right. Exactly.
right.
Like your parents.
Telling
did a long
you,
time
you
ago.
you make your jokes there, Joe Virgin River. You see
It's
Rob
coming.
Renz, Rob would tear you a new one.
Dude.
Oh, I have no doubt.
And,
Dude,
and
he's
he
cool,
ain't the
dude.
biggest dude in the world. He'll tear you a new one.
He's kind of tall,
Joe
slender.
threw in the
Now he's
flag.
got long
He's got
hair.
the long hair. Yeah. He's got
now.
he ain't in the service anymore.
Yes, that's right. He's a hippie.
Yeah.
I think he owns an insurance agency or something.
Yeah,
doesn't
he's
he?
running his own insurance
Yeah.
company, I believe, out of the Carolinas.
Yeah, I think so too. Man. Good dude, great dude. Morning Extra, Extra 106.3. Like the election of Mike Johnson, it's the first win of the Trump administration. Whether you like it or not, this is the first win of the Trump administration because Trump said that's what I want and that's what I got. I love that. Plenty of folks like me did not want Mike Johnson back as Speaker. Trump got him reelected. And with a harmonious message, this dude, I do believe Mike Johnson is a conservative. But I'll tell you, I don't think he knew how to use his power as the Speaker to get conservative work done. And I think he was there. He's used to the Republicans laying down, rolling over. So that's what he did. That's what he'd been taught to do. That's what he'd seen. That has been his experience. I think with Trump giving him the direction that he needs, things might be a little different with Mike Johnson. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, look, I think Trump is...
And I didn't want him. I want to make it clear. I didn't want Mike Johnson.
I watched this whole thing, and I got really into it Friday, watching the vote and the roll call vote and watching as my representative, Andrew Clyde, would refuse to vote until he heard everything else, which I think it's just a good strategy play. And I was fine either way. If Andrew Clyde didn't vote, I would have been upset. But if he would have voted no, I would have been fine. If he voted yes, I was fine at this point because I think Donald Trump is doing something where we haven't seen this in politics. He's taking the speaker and he's saying, hey, listen, I know you've played this game for a long time. The game has changed. We are going to show strength from the beginning. And I feel like this is almost a apprenticeship, for
No
Mike
pun
Johnson.
intended.
No
Yeah.
pun intended, but kind of intended. Yeah. But I think this is how we're going to handle this. This is how we're going to handle the Democrats and all the lies. We can't care anymore because the Democrats have already made themselves look ridiculous with every lie they've thrown out. I don't think any American people actually fall into their traps anymore. So I think this is a way to say to Johnson, hey, get in there and do what we need to do, and we'll see if that happens.
I already feel kind of dirty about this because it is the epitome of politics where I'm having to horse trade mentally. I'm looking at somebody where I said, you tried to put forth a continuing resolution that was 1,500 pages, and by the time that everyone got upset about it, it got down to about 120. You went, wow, it's 1,000 pages. It's 1,400 pages
How were
worth
you
of
able to
BS.
do that?
It's amazing how we were able to slim down government. Now, granted, it got done. Okay, here's what it is. But then, in the interest of the Trump agenda, which I'm 100% all about, I'm having to look over at this person and say, and we got to keep you here in order to make this thing happen.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Ideology be damned.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because the fear for Republicans for so long was the Democrats' little statement of, well, you went back on your deal, and it's unfair, and you didn't do
and
what
then the
we
media
said.
would take that and run with it.
Yeah, and I think Republicans and Mike Johnson and all of them said, we don't, go ahead. Use the media the way you want. Throw it out there.
Ain't nobody
Nobody
listening
cares.
to it anyway.
We're doing the work for the American people, and we need to cut this resolution out of 1,500 pages. We don't need any of this other crap or pork in there. What we need to do is figure out a way to fund the government and not put any additional, debt into this society. And I think that worked.
But I here's where I get bothered by it. The fact that was supposed to be the calling card of what this next administration was supposed to be. That if you want to spend crazy money, we're going to get rid of you. And this speaker is more than willing to spend crazy money.
Yes. That's the scary part.
And that, again, in the interest of getting this agenda moving the way it is going to go, I have to just grin and bear it and be like, all right, fine, I'm just going to put up with it for the time being.
Well, but negotiation's part of it, too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, good for Thomas Massey for saying, I don't care. I'm not voting for this. I'm not putting any more money.
I love that.
And I loved it. And you know what? I mean, there were some others. Chip Roy was one of them. I was like, this is going to be dangerous. But you know what? They all came through. They got it done. One vote. He's in. Let's get to work.
Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. Talk about the Vegas bomber next. And I don't know. Have y'all thought about joining ISIS? And how would you do it if you were going to? Would you know? Because I'm not sure I would. Next on Extra 106.3.
Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Extra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
Basically speaking, I'll bet you that in most neighborhoods, kind of neighborly areas in most parts of this country, there's usually one old fart who's kind of an old guy, and he's kind of a funny guy in the neighborhood. He may be an old geezer, or the people kind of talk about him, or it's just, somebody's an old coot, maybe a nice old guy, but he's just kind of, that's me. I'm the guy. I realized it just over the weekend. I'm driving. I see people, waving like, oh, he's so, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm the guy. They see me out there washing my car by hand, grunting and groaning and wheezing. Oh, that poor bastard. He's going to drop dead one day. I'm sure they're going to find me curled up behind my car with a hose running.
Someone should go help him. The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? That's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth. If they're going to make your life miserable, we all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there, napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Atlanta Braves single game tickets for the 2025 season are now on sale. Get your tickets for some exciting matchups next season, like when the Phillies come to Truist Park during the opening homestand in April, followed by the Dodgers and Padres in May, the New York Yankees in July, and many more.
0-2 driven well to deep left field. That's moving fast. 2-run home run, Sean Murphy. And it's 2-0 Braves here in the fourth.
And fans can also look forward to some favorite specialty ticket packages next season, including the brand new Hello Kitty ticket package in April, where fans will receive a Hello Kitty figure with a light-up bow. The Star Wars package that includes a Braves astromech figure, and the Military Appreciation package, which includes an Army Green t-shirt. Plus, you can go ahead and reserve your spot to play catch on the field for Father's Day, but hurry, it sells out fast. Don't miss out on a home schedule packed with star power. Visit Braves.com/packages to learn more and purchase today. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves country.
This is House Call for Health. It's dry January, but not here in the States, across the pond in the United Kingdom. Every January, there's a public health campaign called Dry January, highlighting the benefits of not drinking alcohol for the entire month. It's a challenge run by Alcohol Change UK, and the group says despite it being a UK-based initiative, more than 215,000 took part in 2024. The group says small changes in the amount of alcohol you can drink can make a big difference in several ways. First, you'll sleep better. Alcohol can disturb sleep, and without it, you might be able to wake up easier and feel better rested. Next up, you'll have more energy. Drinking less can boost energy levels and keep you more alert. Many people also have improved mental health, feeling less anxious and having better focus. And then, of course, you'll have a healthier body, as well as many people losing weight without much effort because alcohol contains a lot of hidden calories. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm CJ Papa, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, January 6th. 2025. Leroy Ramos, a 47-year-old MARTA bus driver, leaves behind a wife, 2 daughters, and a son after being fatally shot during a dispute over a bus fare. Union workers and loved ones gathered on Sunday at Decatur MARTA station for a balloon release to honor Ramos. Police have arrested 2 juvenile suspects so far and are searching for a third who remains at large. Ramos' loved ones have started an online fundraiser to help cover funeral costs. Gwinnett County police are investigating the shooting of a 15-year-old at the Mall of Georgia on Saturday night. Police arrested 18-year-old Caden Javar Williams of DeKalb County and charged him with aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. He is being held without bond. And in business news this morning, the 10-year Treasury yield rose by more than 2 basis points to 4.6%, while the 2-year Treasury was up by less than 1 basis point to 4.2%. Investors are awaiting key jobs data set to be published throughout the week. Meanwhile, U.S. equity futures showed little movement this morning. Futures tied to the Dow were flat. S&P futures gained 0.16%, and NASDAQ futures rose 0.24%. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Extra 1063.
We were talking about how you join ISIS. Like, do they have a sign-up genius? We've talked about the men that have joined ISIS from our military. Crazy.
Like if you pledge allegiance to ISIS, like, is that all you have to do, or is there a sign-up?
That's what I'm saying. Do you have to put that as a note on your Facebook page?
It's like the Sports Illustrated sign-ups, I think.
Like, is that in my LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Pledged allegiance to ISIS.
It might be.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Because we've all established.
You join now, you get your own schematics for your ID free with
absolutely.
membership.
That's right.
Like, instead of my pronouns, do I point this out? Like,
Yes.
is that how I do it?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, and maybe just, you know how like if you do hashtag Go Dogs, it'll put the little G on your Twitter. Like if you put hashtag I joined ISIS, does it have the ISIS flag?
And do you have to note that you haven't joined ISIS?
That's a great question.
Like, is that helpful? It's like, Doug Coward, radio personality,
at any time,
has not joined ISIS.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if you need to make it. I would assume if you're not pledging allegiance and pushing out some sort of terrorist how-to videos, then it's assumed you're not a member of ISIS.
Join now, get your logoed vest.
That's right. Or a flag of your favorite terrorist nation.
Like it's a Sports Illustrated phone.
That's exactly right.
Here,
Remember they
you
used
get
to
the
do
football phone.
They used to do the blankets. Those.
It's not shaped like a football.
You get the VCR.
Get your landmine-shaped phone.
You get the cassette of, like, NFL Field of Power.
That's right.
You joined ISIS, you get Field of Power.
Good Lord. Yeah, and
how do you just sign up over the summer?
And I wonder if there's, like, I don't know, and I wonder if there's some sort of, like,
buddy deal. You know how they'll say, "Hey, if you've done this,
Like if I can sign up Joe along with me."
yes, do you get like? Is it a pyramid scheme?
You get
like
a kickback.
something.
So whatever Joe makes, I get a little
You
small
get a piece of.
percentage.
Yes.
All right.
It's like
Carlos,
Avon.
you're up to 74 virgins for
That's awesome.
referring Joe.
I was only gonna get 20. Now I've
74.
tripled my virgin count
all by referring one person.
because I got Joe in.
Great.
Dude, if you get Rhino and me in,
Yeah,
dude,
bro.
you'd be like the king of all time.
But Joe's real fanatical. Like
He's
he
the
goes
one
well beyond me.
And you're like, dude, but dial it back, dial your fanaticism back.
Yeah. I was like, he's wearing all black.
It's
like, wow.
Like physically carrying the ISIS flag with him everywhere he goes.
Man, he is so into this.
Dude, he's shaved ISIS in the back of his head like it's the 90s.
I just joined to meet chicks.
Yeah.
It's not Joe.
Yeah. Remember how in the 90s, though, people would shave words in their in their hair?
Yeah.
You know, they'd shave it down and then you could put in there whatever you wanted to put. And Joe has ISIS.
Joe's going to have ISIS on the back of his head.
Shaved in the back of his head.
And Carlos got to skip the whole wearing the vest into a market thing
That's right.
because he brought Joe.
I brought in Joe.
Right. And now
Joe's like,
has to get somebody so he didn't have to wear the
Joe's
vest.
got 2 weeks to get 6 people.
That's right.
That's so messed up.
Sweating every time he asks somebody.
It's so, seriously, because you know how they're going to respond.
Yes, will you please join my group?
Yeah. Well, what do y'all do? There's a few things.
What a crazy pyramid scheme.
We keep
love
ourselves
God.
busy.
Like you thought that like Mary Kay was kind of fanatical.
They give you
Try
pink cars.
ISIS.
Yeah. They give you pink cars if you do well enough. If you do ISIS well enough, they give you
get a
72
van.
virgins. Yeah.
You get
With explosives in it.
Get a van that blows
I
up.
didn't tell you that
virgins.
part.
Yeah. Good Lord. Anyway, if you know how to join ISIS, if you can let us know, that way we're all informed.
If you've done this in the
Maybe
past.
we shouldn't open that door.
474-1230. Just in case. That way, look, we don't want to be tricked into it. It seems like it's, if you get lured in, like you're talking about Mary Kay, you get invited. My wife's been invited to those Tupperware parties or whatever, the Mary Kay parties or whatever that is. Like, I don't want to get tricked into being lured into an ISIS joining party.
Well, there are dudes that get reeled into certain things based on women. Sometimes it's Tupperware party. Maybe sometimes it is ISIS.
It is.
That's what I'm saying. I want to avoid the
Exactly.
ISIS.
Like your wife is trying to get you to watch a little more college football, and you're like, okay, that's your thing.
Yeah, sure.
She's not trying to get you to
Join
do it
ISIS.
for Allah.
Yeah, right.
If you're one of those just, uneducated, someone who doesn't know how to read, and someone came up to you and said, Jerry, I got 72 virgins lined up for you, son.
And Jerry's like, I love virgins.
Where do I sign?
this sailor loves this.
I mean, it's always about women.
It is. Comes down for men. It always comes down.
We're dumb.
Like what? Yeah, dude.
We are
one track
instinct-wise dumb when it comes to that.
And you get cloudy. You get like the more a woman tries to convince you of something, it clouds your judgment. Mm-hmm. You're willing to do things that you wouldn't otherwise do, like join ISIS.
Yeah.
When a woman is false.
Or grow that mustache that Joe's wearing.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that caterpillar on his upper lip.
I mean, she complimented it, and now he's like, I'm just going to keep growing
Cassandra loves it.
Okay, it's weird because my son Jacob's about 4 years, maybe 5 years younger than JoJo, and he's grown himself a mustache and says the same thing. His girlfriend loves it. That's the reason he wears
Joe,
it.
I think it's good. It'll look good with your new kafia, too, so I think it's
really compliments the vest, I know.
Exactly. And if you throw a bazooka on your shoulder, wow.
It's just make sure I'll be on the ISIS men's calendar. It'll be December.
It's not the ultra-right conservative women, not that. It's the ISIS fighter.
They'd be so mad when they turn to that month, though, and be like, fat capitalist pig.
Yes,
oh, wait, he's wearing a kafia.
He's good. He's good.
He's not that attractive to me.
Yeah.
Is this one of those queers for Palestine?
Yeah, probably so.
As Tug told me, women are for breeding, men are for fun.
That's what they say in the Middle East. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
When I was in the Navy,
it's true.
We were in Bahrain. That's the first time I'd ever heard it. And there was two men walking down the street.
Think about
hands,
that, Joe. Get deep.
Not too
holding
deep,
hands, and a woman and probably 3 children following about 10 steps behind them.
Yeah.
And you'd see that with relative frequency. And I remember asking, I was like, hey, y'all, what's this all about? And when I got the explanation, that was it. Men for pleasure, women for breeding.
Well, that's why you're going to be Mr. October.
Tug almost, Tug told a story at one point, and it's a while ago, and I'll let you tell a little bit more, but you almost actually got indoctrinated by a man's hand on your knee.
Yeah, that was in a cab. In a cab. That
Trying
was
to pick
also
you
in
up.
Bahrain.
Yeah.
That was also in Bahrain.
Yeah.
Short story.
You could have been in ISIS before you knew it like that.
Dude, we're going to the open air market, and the cab driver looks over at me and my two buddies that were in the back seat, me in the front seat with this cab driver, and he puts his hand on my knee. That was the first thing that made me uncomfortable. Then he proceeded to tell me, "You are a beautiful man. You have beautiful blue eyes."
Huh?
And I'd never been told that by a man before.
He wanted to take you camping.
so nice.
Let me tell you, he did, or to Waffle House.
Yeah.
So we wanted to take.
Well, not everything is sexual when it goes to Waffle House.
Well, okay, yes, okay. Well, anyway,
I find you interesting. I'll take you to Waffle House.
yes, that's right. So anyway, like I'm like, sir, you're gonna have to take your hand off my knee there.
Yeah.
And he did, but he kept telling me how beautiful I was and all this stuff, and my buddies in the backseat just rolling.
Yeah.
I was afraid there was going to be an international incident because I was about to start a war.
And they stayed in the cab because I would have jumped out.
Yeah, no, we
Let
all
you
did.
go.
We all did. Because he finally backed off. I mean, it was like a 8-minute trip or something. But I mean, physically, hand on my knee. You're a beautiful man.
And now Tug does that to me at least once a day.
Exactly. Because sometimes you just got to shoot your shot.
That's right, and he did. But
you ain't scoring if you don't shoot.
No, you're right.
True.
That's what Kobe said, right?
Right.
Or was it
It's Jordan, too. It's like you're going to miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Let me tell you, that man took a shot, and he almost got a shot right back in the jaw. That's what could have happened. But I
might have been what he's aiming for.
Exactly right. You are a beautiful man, is what he said to me. And put his hand on my knee. Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. I found this odd, and I bet you do too, that the Vegas bomber was a former Green Beret, or a Green Beret military member. Knew a lot about explosives, for sure. That's part of Spec Ops in the military. He had a gunshot wound to his head. They're saying that he shot himself before the truck was detonated, before the explosives were detonated. That seems like an impossibility to me, Rhino. That just doesn't seem even humanly possible.
It doesn't make any sense. This entire story out of Vegas doesn't make any sense. And yeah, look, I know the Cybertruck can do a lot of things. I don't think there's any capability of lighting fireworks or explosives in the vehicle when no one's in it. So that's going to be something that I hope Elon Musk, I know there's a lot about, hey, there's privacy issues with going through the Tesla, getting the video from the charging stations, getting the video from inside the truck. But I mean, this is an investigation at this point into a, possible terrorist attack or a suicide. We don't know what this is. But I don't think that if you're going to blow up your Cybertruck, number one, I don't think you shoot yourself right before that. I think you just go in the truck unless you think, well, I haven't done a good enough job with these explosives, so let me take me out first. Because it doesn't make any sense that it's a suicide attempt in that regard either. So there's too many questions to be asked.
And also considering that the authorities have pointed out that he was armed in the truck, and we saw the pictures of those firearms, it just seems so strange that if you're telling me that I'm going to launch a terrorist attack that includes a bomb in my truck and I'm going to have firearms as well, I only need one if I plan to shoot myself in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He had more firearms than what was necessary. Like, so much of this is so incredibly strange.
Yeah. And especially with a special operator, the most well-trained.
On leave, by the way.
On leave. The most well-trained soldiers in the world, not just in the United States, in the world, and this is look. If you've lost your mind and you're suffering some sort of mental breakdown, and you say you've joined ISIS and all of the things that they say he did, I don't think that negates your training.
No,
your instinct.
No,
clearly I could be wrong, but when I'm doing the math, and I ain't great at math, it doesn't add up.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. And when the family speaks about him and what was going on in his life at this time, I mean, just having a newborn son and leaving.
Yes, dude.
I don't know. Look, I don't know what's in his heart. I know how hard it is for veterans that I speak to coming back and doing things, but he was still, active. Coming home, I don't know, the minute I saw my son, There was nothing in my life except for to protect that child for the rest of my life. I never would have thought of leaving him. I mean, it changed the way I felt as a human. It changed my emotion. It changed a lot having a son. And I'm not saying, look, that's my personal experience. So I know it doesn't relate to everybody.
I think it's most, dude.
But I think it is. And so a lot of this doesn't make sense. And that's why when you don't believe the FBI, when you don't believe the CIA or any of the leadership in this country, I'm going to ask a lot of questions about this.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
The Atlanta Falcons season has come to an end. With the Buccaneers beating the Saints, the Falcons were eliminated from the playoffs, but still had a chance to go out with a winning record. Rookie QB Michael Penix Jr. shined with 312 yards, 2 passing TDs, and a rushing touchdown, as did Bijan Robinson, who ran for 170 yards and 2 TDs. But the defense couldn't buy a stop as they lost to the Panthers 38-44 in overtime, giving the Falcons their 7th losing season in a row. Now it's time to look towards the offseason and the draft, where Atlanta will have the 15th pick. For Extra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
Telling you, worst ownership in the NFL. Worst. Falcons. I've been saying, how long have I been saying this? Now it's people finally realizing. I saw it blowing up on Twitter yesterday. Like, oh yeah, welcome to the game. Welcome to the conversation. I don't know how you've been so far behind. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. Tug Rhino, front office Los, re-elected Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is talking a good game now. He's got to back it up. Next on Extra 106.3.
Monday, the 20th. President Donald Trump is officially sworn in as President of the United States. And Extra 106.3 will bring you live coverage of the inauguration and everything that happens next. There will be a lot of changes and breaking news in the first 100 days of Donald Trump's second presidency. And Extra will have live updates from the biggest personalities in the country and the local legends you know and trust. For the breaking news without the spin, there's only one place you can talk about it. Extra 106.3 FM.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, Atlanta's engagement ring and wedding band destination since 1939. Why? Easy. Hand-picked diamonds that just shine brighter at a value that can't be beat. An unbelievable selection of engagement rings and wedding bands, from classic to modern to off the wall, because hey, you like what you like. And because we've been jewelers for generations, we can bring your dream ring to life with full custom abilities. If you're getting engaged, we make shopping for diamonds easy with Atlanta's best staff of trained gemologists. Tell us what matters to you, and we'll work together to get you the best value. We're a small family-owned business. We live here. We want you to like us. Already engaged? Congrats, you found your perfect match. Time for your ring to find its perfect match. Just bring yourself, your partner, stack them up, and try as many wedding band looks as you can dream up. Make it personal with touches like birthstones and engraving. So when it's time for the next chapter, come see Atlanta's most trusted jeweler since 1939, D. Geller & Son, in Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs, and online at dgeller.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. At A Second Chance Bail Bonds, we believe everyone deserves a second chance. We handle bonds from local to federal for any jail in any city. And in most cases, we can have you or your loved one out of jail in a matter of hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT. That's 404-BAIL-OUT. Or online at atlbail.com.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Are you the type of consumer that likes to do your research before you choose a company? Well, then you need to join Dan Watkins, Chris Lolamy, and myself, Jim Niarchos, every Saturday morning at 9 for the All Four Seasons Home Show. We only vet local businesses with a proven history of integrity, competence, and solid customer service. The All Four Seasons Home Show helps you make a good consumer decision, save money, and not get ripped off. You can also follow our podcasts on Apple, Google, and Spotify. The All Four Seasons Home Show, Saturday mornings at 9, right here on Xtra 106.3.
For half a century, glyphosate has affordably and effectively protected Georgia farmers' crops from invasive weeds. Without it, the impact would be felt beyond the fields, hitting Americans where it hurts, our wallets. That's why the Modern Ag Alliance advocates for farmers' continued access to essential crop protection tools so food prices don't rise even more. Get the facts at controlweedsnotfarming.com. Paid for by the Modern Ag Alliance in support of Georgia farmers.
The Morning Extra from 6 to 10. Glenn Beck until noon. Clay and Buck from noon to 3. And the Kimmer Show on your ride home from 3 to 6. Plus Jesse Kelly from 6 to 9. And Jimmy Vela from 9 to midnight. The voices you need all day with a conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
6 o'clock hour brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. 2 of the 3 members of the show drive a Subaru of Gwinnett Subaru car. Yeah, we got what's yours? What you?
I got the Outback.
Outback, and we have
he's the Outback. He's very sporty.
Yeah, we have the Ascent, and Joe tells me that one's not even qualified as a.
No,
that one doesn't qualify.
Okay,
it's like a Yugo.
As a lesbian car, though, that's the problem.
Oh, I'm sure Subaru of Gwinnett thinks very highly of when you point that out.
Well, I'm just telling you what Joe said. That's all.
No, okay, put it on Joe.
Thanks for that, Tug.
You're welcome. No, we love it.
Everything
love
flows
it,
downhill, Joe.
Yeah,
That's what goes on.
Yeah, you know me, Mr. Send it down. Send it down.
That's right.
No, it's
we just want to take all this crap and just send it your way, Joe.
That's right. Just flush it right down.
Get me in trouble. I don't care.
Joe, just so you know,
why, Joe?
I'm your friend, Joe.
Why did you say that? Why did you make me say that, Joe?
Why did you make me say that? The amount of radio people over the years have been like, why did he make me say that?
Yeah. Has anybody, you've heard people use that actually?
I mean,
like
there
with the
are
real
plenty of people. Like there's a personality in Philadelphia who got himself into an issue. He got fired after like 30 years at a radio station, and his entire thing was, I didn't put my hands on that woman. It's like, well, why do like 10 coworkers say you did? It's like, well, she made me do it. You know,
she
like,
made me do it.
It's always this lack of accountability.
Yeah, dude, we suffer from
like,
that.
dude, you're 70. Come on,
Yeah,
like don't say the stuff you're doing. Don't put hands on a woman.
Yeah,
right?
it's like crazy old man like Biden. Be like, I didn't know what I was doing.
And then start, like you said,
like even on
cussing at people.
Even
when they
on
don't listen.
Friday, like listening to Kimmer. And again, I loves me some Kimmer. And he spent a good 5 minutes talking about Bella's hair. I was like, do you realize like that this makes it kind of a little bit strange at the point where she wants to go ahead and put it into HR that she feels awkward at work? Now Bella won't, because Bella's pretty chill. Bella's pretty cool.
She's laid back.
But if you ever wanted to point out that the Zimmer keeps talking about her hair on air,
well, no, which one is it, the Kimmer or the Zimmer? Because
no, it's definitely a Zimmer.
Those are clearly two different people.
I'm just saying, might create an issue there. There's certain things you don't do really.
No, I'm with you, man, 100%. House Speaker Johnson, we talked about a little bit early in the hour and the fact that he's been reelected to his position as Speaker of the House. And right now, he's talking a good game, but is he going to back it up? That's going to be, that's where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, he's doing the Sunday shows yesterday. And I trust him about as much as I can throw Joe. All right? Like, I just do not trust him.
What are you trying to say about Joe?
I think that he's one of those guys that out of Louisiana who, as we've seen this now, you see Republicans that play the game of I'm conservative, and then they get elected and they don't legislate as conservative.
No, they just go with the will
the game.
of the Democrats, pretty much.
All right, take a listen, though. This was the one area where if you want to put a politician on their heels and make them accountable, it's based off of what they say when they do the news media circuit. Take a listen to what Speaker Johnson is saying as of right now.
And as heirs to the American Revolution and the descendants of patriots who defied tyranny, in the coming months, we are going to pass legislation to roll back the totalitarian fourth branch of government known as the administrative state.
Amen.
We're going to drastically cut back the size and scope of government. We're going to return the power back to the people. And in coordination with President Trump and his administration, we are going to create a leaner, faster, and more efficient federal workforce. Our people do not deserve to be ruled by millions of bureaucrats they've never voted for, never met, and can never hold accountable. They deserve a government that is led by those they've elected to lead. That is how Article 1 is supposed to work. That was the idea of the Congress, and we will return to that principle. The American people have called on us to reject business as usual and throw out the status quo. We must and we will heed their call.
All right, sounds good.
Here. That's right, man.
That should be the standard.
Right.
Yeah.
But will he legislate that way? Will he do the things that are needed to make sure that, Rhino, we're able to live up to everything he just said?
Yeah, look, this is very important right now, and he talked about it again, this weekend and throughout the weekend about a reconciliation bill that is going to be very important, and it's going to be used on the spending bills. That's the only way we're going to be able to cut this down. The good part about using, in case you don't know, a reconciliation bill is that you can get it into the Senate and pass it with a simple majority. That means you don't have to worry about the filibuster of getting 60 votes, but a lot of the bills that we need to get passed are going to require at least 60 votes, which means working with Democrats. So you have to pick and choose which bills are more important that there is no way Democrats are going to jump on, and ones that you say, hey, this is too common sense for them not to. But when it comes to cutting that, when it comes to dealing with the debt ceiling, they've got a lot of work to do before, the next 100 days. They got to get them in there before April.
That's right. And for me, if I'm planning this out, I'm taking the ones that I know that they'll vote for first, right? Just let's push those through first, and then fight as you go. That way you get the stuff that you can get done, and get the stamp on that before you get into the fighting. Well, instead of the other way, which is the way the Republicans normally work.
But you end up in a scenario where you're trying to say, okay, what is the most mainstream, easy stuff outside of executive orders that you can get done, just so you can show something?
Yeah.
What are going to be the big battles? Because I don't believe that extending the Trump-era tax cuts should be a giant battle. But when it comes to spending any kind of money, this is what happens.
All of a sudden, the Democrats
it becomes
are like,
a giant fight.
What? We can't spend money. We've been spending like drunken
They're
sailors.
so busy talking about how do you pay for tax cuts? Well, you don't have to, because tax cuts for the better part of 40 years have shown that whenever you cut taxes, the federal government makes more money.
That's right.
Off the amount of revenue that comes in. You're not having to plan how to spend for tax cuts, but this is the fight that you end up going through.
But plus, if you're cutting the size and scope of government with DOGE, there's not going to be those agencies there that need to be funding. Right? I mean, so the math works pretty simply.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard thing, though, to eliminate any kind of agency. You're not getting rid of the Department of Education in the first 2 years. I don't believe it. I don't believe that you're going to be able to tear down the FBI building and say, hey, we're not going to give you this money for that. I don't think they'll get it through. I don't trust them to. What I want them to work on is exactly what they said during the campaigning season, which is we got to work on immigration and border enforcement. Make sure that's taken care of. That's going to be a priority for Republicans. Democrats are going to balk at it and try to fight that the whole way. Tax reform, again, like Carlos just said, the Trump-era tax cuts are very important to keep this economy humming and moving. Democrats are going to play games with it, try to block that. And then you got energy. There's so much to do with energy and drilling, and you've already seen Biden trying to throw executive orders out before he leaves to stop any kind of energy production. So those are the things that you're going to have to look at and say, we got to get this passed. I don't know if we'll get enough help from Democrats. So these are the ones that we got to throw in the reconciliation bill. You don't want to throw a lot in the reconciliation bill, but you do have to cut spending. So hopefully we'll be able to cut spending without eliminating departments, but you're never going to get that $2 trillion that Doge is talking about in the first 2 years. I can't imagine it happening by 2026.
But you know what? You got to at least try. Or you can't. Yeah, you got to. I mean, because the same thing. What was it? John Thune, when he was talking about, well, we're not going to be able to support everybody, and just leave it at that. He's just going to be, well, I want to see action, and that's the thing. If you want to piss off your constituency, don't attempt it. I'm not saying that you're going to be able to accomplish it, and I understand where you're coming from. Yeah. I'm just saying from the point of view of the American people, you damn well better be trying to do the things that you said you were going to.
Yeah, Thune is such a joker when it comes to this. He's such an establishment guy but he realizes the one thing. You're going to have to get 60 votes for a lot of this, and you're not going to get them from Democrats. Democrats are, look, whether you like it or not, I don't like it. I think it's disgusting that they're all on the same page.
Well, they're effective.
Anything. Well, yeah, but they're effective in stopping any kind of progress, which is not good for this country. To have an entire party that is basically an echo chamber all the way down the line, not one person breaks rank and says, hold on 1 second. This doesn't help American people. We're just playing politics at this point. So you're never going to overcome that with Democrats. So you have to decide now, hey, what can I get with the 53-47 split that we have, and what can we get with 60 votes? And let's throw those through first. Thune is going to play the establishment, though. He's not changing his stripes.
No, 100%. But I know the American people. If you don't at least attempt to do the things that you said you're going to do, then this is going to be the biggest flop, the biggest failure.
Yeah, you got 2 years
that you've ever seen in your entire life.
Get them to single bills and let's vote on them.
Yeah, I love that idea too. And wasn't it John Thune this weekend that said, well, he was kind of back and forth on that a little bit?
Yeah, he said, I don't know if we could get these all into single bills. We need to put a lot into the reconciliation bill. Again, filling it with pork.
Yeah. Piss everybody off day one. That's not the way you want to handle it. All right, well, we continue on Extra 106.3. We had a Fox News update, and then Chuck Schumer was confronted about his lies, and there are a lot of them. You know what he did? Do you know what Chuck Schumer did? Exactly what every other politician would do. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's a camera. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Well, here we are, a new year. Question today, what was the big story of 2024? At my age, surviving it. But I mean for the whole country. A lot of people might say it's the election. Donald Trump being reelected. Big story, to be sure. But it was going to happen one way or the other. Happens every 4 years. To me, the big story of this year was CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN, all of the alphabet networks, the Washington Times, the Washington Post, New York, the major newspapers, everybody out there hiding the sad decline of Joe Biden, the President of the United States.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, CPAPsETC.com.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
The new year means new health goals, not just for your body, but your finances too. Your personal info is in so many places that are outside of your control. It only takes one mistake, and not even your mistake, to expose you to identity theft and lost funds. If your identity's stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back, and resolve to make identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
I'm Chad Pergram with the Speaker's Lobby. 78-year-old Democratic Ohio Representative Marcy Kaptur is an anomaly in Congress. Kaptur is the longest-serving woman in congressional history. She's a pro-life Democrat, and despite her seniority, and one might argue her gender, Kaptur has never gotten to chair or serve as the top Democrat on any House committee. But Kaptur's experience is similar to what New York Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez ran into when she tried to become the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi advocated for Virginia Democrat Jerry Connolly over Ocasio-Cortez. And for years, Kaptur asserts that the powerful Pelosi blocked her ascension too. Quote, "I had to defeat Nancy Pelosi to do that on about 5 ballots, said Kaptur. Then I began to understand the way this organization called Congress functions." Kaptur says that most Democratic ranking members on committees are from the coast and not from Middle America. Kaptur won re-election in a state carried by President-elect Trump, but Kaptur was held to under 50% and prevailed by less than a point. With the Speaker's Lobby, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
This is WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. Locally owned and heard throughout Georgia on the Xtra app.
Winter is hitting Americans hard from the Midwest to the East Coast. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. A storm blanketed Kansas, moving east.
We also have a pretty thick layer of ice that's currently under all of this snow, which has made things very treacherous. We know that a lot of the roads, unfortunately, were very slick, especially on Saturday afternoon into Sunday. That led to countless accidents.
Fox Weather's Kendall Smith in Kansas City, Missouri.
We picked up 11 inches of snow at Kansas City International Airport on Sunday. That was, in fact, the third largest single-day snowfall total that we've ever seen here.
Now, a third of all flights out of KC are canceled today, and in all, there are more than 1,300 flight cancellations. There are also a lot of schools closed and more than 250,000 power outages from Missouri to Virginia. Washington, D.C. could get a foot of snow, but Congress still plans a joint session to certify a presidential vote via the Electoral College. It is on this day a campaign victory becomes official. The last time the two chambers of Congress met to perform this task was in 2021, the day in which a mob infamously entered the Capitol and interrupted the proceedings. Fox's Evan Brown. President Biden will go to New Orleans today to meet with victims and their families of the New Year's Day terror attack when an Army veteran turned ISIS supporter drove a truck through a crowd, killing 14 people, injuring more than 30 others until police killed him.
The FBI says the Shamsuddin Jabbar traveled to Egypt and Canada in 2023, and they're looking into how that may or may not have tied into the attack.
Fox's Madison Scarpino also reports from New Orleans Jabbar made 2 trips to that city before the attack as well. The Golden Globes were awarded last night.
The Brutalist was the big winner in film in the drama category with 3 awards, while in musical or comedy, Amelia Perez took home 4 on the TV side. Shogun dominated with 4 awards.
Fox's Michelle Polino. Shogun got Best Drama. Hacks got the Golden Globe for Best TV Comedy. America's listening to Fox.
If pain is affecting your life, I have the perfect New Year's resolution for you. Make 2025 the year of feeling good again. The year of moving better, sleeping better, feeling more alive. And do it with Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, it doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Over 1 million people have turned to Relief Factor. Feel the difference it can make in your life. Give their 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call, 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. You can start feeling better in 3 weeks or less, and every day you feel better is a day you live better. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, make 2025 the year of feeling good again. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
It took 100 years, but finally there's a conservative voice you can trust. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. As you wake up this morning, 200,000 plus without power. There was a, just crazy cold weather. The Arctic blast, if you will. 60 million people across America were under weather alerts this weekend, and the cold weather will continue. And Los tells me that they've actually named this cold front Blair. We talked about this a little last hour. I don't recall winter weather being named like hurricanes, but I guess that's a new thing.
Winter Storm Blair.
What?
I didn't know this.
She was on the Facts of Life, I thought.
I was checking out, weather.com, Weather Channel, everything else. And they're like, I'm giving it a name. All right, fine.
Yeah, I saw it on Fox News. I kept seeing Blair up in the top corner. It says like Trump inauguration.
Like, who is she?
Yeah, and I'm like, who's Blair? What happened with Blair?
She's been appointed by the administration to do something.
Listen, I'm rooting for Blair this week.
Yeah.
I want Blair to bring a ton of snow.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah, bring some nastiness by Friday.
No, it's terrible thinking, y'all. That's a terrible way
as
of thinking.
of now, the forecast says that Friday afternoon is when we're going to catch stuff. Now, my wife and I have already decided because we had to head to the Carolinas for a volleyball tournament. We're going to leave Friday morning to try and stay ahead of the weather. But if they happen to not have school, then we can get on the road door as quickly as possible.
Seriously.
Like 10:01, we're out the door.
That's right. We're so concerned about our safety, we're going to get on the road.
And we're going to have
with
to...
your white Escalade.
That's right. We're going to have to reach out to management and ownership at this radio station, and this doesn't apply to us as much as it applies to sales. Sales will be like... It might be dangerous to show up to work.
Yeah.
And everyone bends over backwards around her to make sure that sales doesn't have to show up to work.
Yes.
That's what happens.
That's what happens.
We're here.
We're here.
We're here.
And we have to, put ourselves and our body in danger as we drive in.
Yeah. I don't care about it.
It'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. But, yeah, look, cold weather coming. I hate cold weather.
You can say that as much as you want, Suit.
Yeah. Me, Mr. Suit guy. Help me fix my tie.
We'll be totally fine.
Clean shaven, That's what they call me for sure. But anyway, it goes. I'm no fan of cold weather. I hated it this weekend. It was freaking freezing. We were moving my son into his apartment there.
By the way, rain, snow on Friday, a high of 35.
Let's go.
As of now.
So 35, that's not even cold enough to freeze anything.
But it's 30 degrees on the lower end.
Yeah. It's going to be low throughout the entire evenings. 20s, and so
75% chance of rain.
Yeah.
We'll see how it checks out. But could be nasty. Yeah. We won't give you weather every 6 minutes or anything. You probably, since we've discussed it, you probably already know.
Yeah.
You probably already.
It's raining outside.
I think we've done it once an hour.
That's right. Exactly.
It's going to take a while to get around another 6 minutes.
You're good to know. Yes.
Not like you don't have it on your phone.
Exactly. Your weather
Bunch
app.
Of jackasses. I'll give it to you every 6 minutes.
Yes.
In traffic.
Here's traffic.
You got it on your phone. What kind of a moron are you? It's right there.
Yeah.
Open the weather app. What are you doing?
You see that app on your phone? Hit it.
And
you don't have to sit next to the radio station. Trust me.
I need to listen to every other area I don't drive in until they get to mine. And then when they tell me mine, I'm ready.
That's the worst.
I'm going to wait every 6 minutes.
I'll give you the scores to the game every 10 minutes. Hit ESPN.com, you jackass. That's it.
Or just enable the notifications on your phone. It'll tell you when the game starts, when somebody scores, when it ends, the final, and then for the next 2 days.
I need more than this apple slice.
Well, but I don't know how to help you with that.
I had no idea it was raining until I heard it on the radio.
That's exactly right.
Well, now you know what to do on Friday. Plan accordingly.
Chuck Schumer, however, he has lots of explaining to do. He's a guy that was kind of put on the spot by NBC News, of all people. How can it be so? But it is. I want you to listen to this. He was telling you on Meet the Press, he was presented with his No, lies. I mean, it's what it is. You can't call it anything else. And then what did he do? He did what every politician does.
Obviously, there has been a lot of focus on President Biden's role in this. You were obviously in close contact with President Biden well before the public tuned into that debate that ultimately led to him stepping down. I want to play you a little bit of something you said last year. Take a look.
I talk to President Biden, regularly. Sometimes several times in a week, or usually several times in a week. His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
Leader Schumer, what do you say to Americans who feel as though you and other top Democrats misled them about President Biden's mental acuity?
Well, look. We didn't, and let's look at President Biden. He's had an amazing record. The legislation we passed, one of the most significant groups of legislation since since Lyndon Johnson's Great Society, putting in 235 judges, a record, and he's a patriot.
Okay, all right. Okay. So you're telling me that when you said you were with him all the time and he was sharp as a razor blade, you weren't lying? That's what you want me to believe. Yeah. So he did exactly what politicians do. He lied about lying.
Well, he spun it. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Though, even though, because you're supposed to think in the back of your head, even though Chuck Schumer knew he wasn't there, he was still doing so much good for the American people. But that's not true, because later on in the thing, he's like, hey, we got to figure out what we're doing wrong. What we did wrong was we didn't focus on hardworking Americans and what they actually needed.
And you lied to the people.
And you lying.
And you're lying again.
Yeah, they're a complete joke, but this is Democrats, and this is the only strategy they have. They haven't learned from any of their lessons, Lowe's.
Well, both sides lie, okay? That's just how it's going to be. I've just never been lied to from a standpoint of the most powerful man in the world is anything more than a cucumber. Mm-hmm. All right, like that was the biggest lie I can remember in my entire political lifetime. If you tell me, well, Bill Clinton was a little bit tricky. George Bush lied about weapons of mass destruction. Okay, fine. What? Cool. You told me that this guy was sane and normal on an elementary level, that he could actually think and act, and he could not. He couldn't function as a human being, let alone being the president.
So here's the problem, though. Because with George Bush, yes, they lied to us, but at least you could, if you were an innocent bystander listening to what was coming in, you could be convinced that there was weapons of mass destruction. You could be convinced of it.
Yeah.
We saw Joe Biden every day fumbling and falling and not being able to read a teleprompter. You could see the mental decline. There was no way to miss it.
That's the point.
Exactly. Right. That's what I'm saying. With all those other things, at least there was a shred of possibility. With Joe Biden, there was not a shred of possibility because it was in front of you.
Yeah, and not only that, when you pointed it out, or when anybody pointed it out, and let's go to when the paratrooper landed and he was walking around in circles, they called you the liar. They called that misinformation. Everything you saw was deep fakes, cheap fakes, this, that, and the other. They tried to make you that they're narcissists, and what they do, and any narcissist does, is they make you feel like you're the one with problems. You're the one with the issues. So we're sitting here going, maybe I'm just seeing things. Maybe he's just fine. I know he can't remember her name. I know he fell off the plane. I know he ran down the wrong way and started talking to a Easter bunny, but it must be me who's seeing it wrong. And that's where Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are just disgusting.
He fell off a bicycle month one. And then for 3 years, I had it on my Twitter profile. Repeat the line. He was reading the notes on the teleprompter of what to do.
Yeah, pause.
Really? This is how bad that your brain actually was. We saw the Democrats cheat in 2020 to elect a vegetable so that they could be in charge.
But that's the thing. Like, if Chuck Schumer, I believe the American people, at least a portion of them, if he would have been like, it was my job to protect the president and his agenda.
Okay.
It was my job. That was what I was doing. Yes, I misled you. I did. Because I thought that was the best path forward. If he would have said that, took some ownership, took some responsibility, there would have been a portion of the American people be like, yep, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
However, he didn't.
No.
he continued to lie to your face and call you stupid for having picked up on it.
Yeah. And then Chuck Schumer, doubles down on it, and it says he did so many great things for us, like, created spending on a fake climate agenda. Well, how does that help the American, consumer go and buy milk or pay for gas or any of that? You didn't do anything to help the American people, and they realized it real quick. And then on top of it, you lied and did whatever you could, because the reality is Chuck Schumer, the progressives, and all the ones that actually want to run this government knew they had a puppet regime, knew they had a man that was mentally declining and could get anything past him just by doing what they do to the American people and lie to them. So they were lying to Biden, lying to the American people, lying to everybody to get their agenda through, and they did it.
The fun game was that they acted like they were the mental authority. They're like, we're doing things the right way after the Trump agenda that was going on from 2016 to 2020, and we're in charge now, and here's how we're going to do it. But you never saw an elected official in terms of a presidential a president who is accountable to the people. As much as you might want to be able to point out that, they got smoked, all right? The entire administration got smoked this time around, because even though Joe couldn't run, then his vice president stepped in and she got smoked as well. It didn't matter which one of them it was going to be. They were both going to be smoked, because neither one of them was any good and neither one of them was really in charge either.
No, that's the whole point. Yeah. And that's what I think that ultimately is what the American people saw, is that the Democrats, they have an idea and they're going to plug anyone in that looks like a figurehead that can at least speak. Well, I guess they failed with Biden, but at least
couldn't get the baseline of speaking.
No.
He wasn't able to communicate.
Speak?
Can you stand up?
How low of a bar is that? Because let me tell you,
that's all you need.
Kamala was just as bad as Joe, and Joe has dementia.
Yes.
I mean, wow, that's the bottom of the barrel.
Kamala might have been drunk. Who knows? It seemed that way to me. I mean, it was just. But the reality
is,
at least
you sober up.
They got away with lying so long that it just became something that, hey, the American people are stupid. Listen to us. We're telling you the truth. The economy is great. It's one of the greatest economies we ever had. Inflation when Donald Trump left office was 9%. And Americans just looked and said, hey, why do you continue to lie to us? But that was what Harris did wrong. She continued to lie. And then I think the biggest concern and what ended up happening for them and Schumer and all of them, the reason that they lost wasn't only because of that. It was also because Kamala Harris came out there and told you what she's going to do as president. And everybody looked and goes, why didn't you do that the last 3.5 years? And why aren't you doing it now then? If you're going to lower prices and do all the things as you say you're going to do as president, what are you waiting on? So it just made them look like, hey, they'll do anything, say anything, lie to the American people just to retain power. And I think everybody overwhelmingly said, no, here's the mandate. We don't believe you. We believe Trump now.
We just believe in common sense. I think anybody delivering a common sense message would have been able to be elected. It just so happened to be Trump.
Yep.
I think Donald Trump is going to do great things for the United States. That's my hope. That's my goal. And that's part of, them getting together and discussing how do we push the Trump agenda forward, because that's what the American people voted for, asked for, and we must deliver.
Yeah, and I think that's so important right now. And I think this agenda will, because I think Congress is starting to realize, hey, we all have to be on the same path. It doesn't matter. What Donald Trump is proposing is great. What he's doing with Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, bringing them in to expose the government inefficiency, that is going to be what we need to do. And you know what? I think a lot of them have realized at this point they can't hide anymore. The establishment cannot be part of the deep state anymore. You're going to get called out in every way. And I love what they're doing. They're getting together all the time. Trump is going and talking to them. He's bringing them to Mar-a-Lago so they can all have a conference together. They had a treat on Saturday to bring everybody together and say, this is the agenda. This is what we're going to do. And Mike Johnson was ahead of it, so we got to give him credit. So you're going to follow this plan because it's going to save America.
I'm rubbing my hands together and saying, please?
Yeah, that's what everybody wants.
That's it. As much as they're talking about the realization that you have 2 years of real power. All right, what are you going to do? And it should start day one.
Yeah,
you
got to hit the ground
first
running.
Day, get it rolling. And if that, And again, as much as I will look at Speaker Johnson, at times I say, I don't agree with what you're trying to do. There's a part of me that goes, if you can rally these people to all be behind you, behind this agenda, that's in the best interest of this country.
Because there's going to be times when Donald Trump will do something that you ain't going to agree with.
Sure.
Because it's just
on
human
regular,
nature.
yeah.
Like, we all genuinely, and most of the time, agree on most everything. But there's going to be times that even in this room we disagree with each other on things. And it will be the same thing with Donald Trump.
I'm not crazy about raising the debt ceiling, but at the same time, there's a part of me that goes, if you're going to give a president flexibility, you have to do it. And I hate that. I can't stand that. That's what I'm having to say, that you have to be able to spend in order to be able to generate revenue.
Yep.
You know, it's part of it, but it sucks because I want to cut spending across the board.
But maybe that if that gets you to the ultimate goal, then you have. I mean, at this point, we've spent and spent and spent and spent and spent. We know that is the wrong answer.
Yeah.
So we're going to give it one. Here's your mulligan. Take it and run with it.
And I think that's the important part. And that's why Thomas Massey is so upset about it. Chip Roy upset about it as well. And a lot of the conservatives and the hardline conservatives are upset because they don't trust that it'll actually happen.
Me either, by the way.
I don't either. And these are the assurances that we're given is that, hey, we are going to cut spending. We already heard that Doge is going to drop $2 trillion. Let's see it happen. Let's see us starting to cut ineffective government resources. Look, the Postal Service, I understand. There are a lot of people in the Postal Service that work there for a living. It's a complete waste. You can get mail any way you want. If you even send mail anymore. Everybody's complaining, oh, you'll never get letters in the mail. None of you sent me a letter. Shut up.
That's the truth, man.
Yeah, who sends a letter anymore?
The only thing you get is junk mail that you throw right in the recycle bin. Don't even make it in the house.
Yeah, the environment's messed up because of you.
A Christmas card or a birthday card. That's the only thing. Right. Everything is set up online. Everything else.
But those are the kind of fights when it comes to working for the government. Those people and the Democrats will pull on the heartstrings and go, but what about Johnny? He's been delivering mail for 35 years.
Go to work for UPS.
There you go.
Go to work for FedEx.
Find someone. Let's hope they get this done because this is the reality of where we are right now. Our debt ceiling, even if we raise it and we don't do spending cuts, we're done. Yeah. We're done. The American dollar, everything will collapse. So you have to make sure that you have the right people in place because Democrats will continue to spend.
Yeah. Just like I know Social Security is not going to be there for me. I know it. There's no doubt in my mind that is going to be, it's going away. So I understand why people are upset if you've been working at the post office your entire life and you've got a pension and whatever. And some of that will probably be covered, but look, moving forward, you have to realize that stuff is ineffective and it's got to go away at some point. It has to. It just can't support itself. And that's just the reality of it. That's just the truth. When we continue on Extra 106.3, we'll knock out the headlines, and then Scott Jennings reminds the Communist News Network what Trump's tax cuts did for every American. Next on the Morning Extra.
Hey, it's Flounder, and the Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
Hey, I used to have a great butt.
What happened?
It's gone. It disappeared. I had no acetone.
You traded it? Did you lose it in the divorce?
I lost it. Everything went. Everything else went. Hey, I lost my ass, all right. Yeah, silly me. I should have known.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Oh, my God, it's freezing outside. And it will get colder and colder. And by the end of the week, if you're not working with central heating and air conditioning, you're going to be kicking yourself. As we start 2025, Central Heating and Air Conditioning, Chuck and his team would like to thank you for trusting them with your heating and air conditioning and home performance needs. They've got a great deal for you right now for your home. That's safe space where you spend time with your family. Central Heating and Air Conditioning, they want to include healthy, free, clean-free, allergen-free, if I could speak, allergen-free air in your home. You see, Carrier Products, they're the best in the business, working with the best in the business at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. If you need a new Carrier system, they can take care of that with a $2,000 rebate. If you want clean, healthy air in your home, they can do that. If you need a repair to your current HVAC, doesn't matter if it's a Carrier system or not, they can work on any brand. But if you need that done, they can do it. And if you need that ultimate maintenance agreement, the tune-up twice a year, they can do that too. Call them today, 770-GET-HEAT. CentralHeat.com is their website.
It's cold or you might get frostbite.
Oh, you don't want frostbite. That'd be terrible. And it burns. I hear it burns. I never had it.
You'll lose a finger.
Yes. If you don't call Central Heating and Air Conditioning, lose a finger.
Allegedly.
That's what they say.
Potentially.
That's what they say frostbite will do to it. Do not lose fingers or toes or get frostbite. Call Central Heating and Air Conditioning now. 770-GET-HEAT, CentralHeat.com.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
Have you thought about securing your hard-earned assets? Do you have concerns about the future? Protecting assets is crucial, and that's where Nelson Elder Care Law excels. As a family-owned and family-focused firm, we provide absolute assurance and peace of mind through our trademarked Absolute Protection Trust, tailored services in estate planning, probate administration, Medicaid crisis solutions, guardianship, and conservatorship. Our goal is to exceed your expectations and empower informed decisions. Visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com for asset protection and peace of mind.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today.
You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Look out. I think your health insurance premiums just went up again. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? Hey, I got great news. If you're tired of those skyrocketing health insurance premiums, introducing Trump Care. If you're healthy and self-employed, small business owner, close to Medicare, even on a COBRA plan, Health Insurance Doctors got you covered. How about saving up to 60% on annual premiums with Trump Care plans? Nationwide PPO network. Let you see any doctor, any hospital, plus 0 deductibles, no co-pays. The best part, plans are available year-round. No more open enrollment, no hard-to-get subsidies, no IRS penalties. Oh, guess what? It's free to you. You don't have to pay them to do it. The Health Insurance Doctor for decades, proudly serving the metro Atlanta area. Thousands of happy customers. Here's a free number to get a quote, 678-523-0759. Visit healthinsurancedoctor.net. Here's the number again. Again, there's no charge to you. 678-523-0759. On the web, healthinsurancedoctor.net.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, January 6th, 2025. Leroy Ramos, a 47-year-old MARTA bus driver, leaves behind a wife, 2 daughters, and a son after being fatally shot during a dispute over a bus fare. Union workers and loved ones gathered on Sunday at Decatur MARTA station for a balloon release to honor Ramos. Police have arrested 2 juvenile suspects so far and are searching for a third who remains at large. Ramos' loved ones have started an online fundraiser to help cover funeral costs. Gwinnett County police are investigating the shooting of a 15-year-old at the Mall of Georgia on Saturday night. Police arrested 18-year-old Caden Javar Williams of DeKalb County and charged him with aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. He is being held without bond. And in business news this morning, the 10-year Treasury yield rose by more than 2 basis points to 4.6%, while the 2-year Treasury was up by less than 1 basis point to 4.2%. Investors are awaiting key jobs data set to be published throughout the week. Meanwhile, U.S. equity futures showed little movement this morning. Futures tied to the Dow were flat. S&P futures gained 0.16%, and NASDAQ futures rose 0.24%. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Extra 1063.
Morning Extra until 10 here on Extra 1063. After we're done at 10, Beck, Clay, and Buck, and then the local afternoon show with the Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder Kimmer show back in full force here on Extra. Scott Jennings, he's a guy that does not deserve to be relegated to CNN. He's better than that. He's better than CNN. Now, it is funny because everybody over there is, lefty lunatic. It is funny to see him just go at them so hard and he be the odd man out, but always right. He brought it up, what Trump's tax cuts did for everyone. They tried to argue with him on CNN, but he put them back in their place.
the Trump tax cuts. Obviously, Democrats are going to fight that tooth and nail. It's not just something that exploded the debt. It's also something that is really symbolic for Democrats of giving all the benefits to extremely wealthy people while the rest of us suffer or don't get anything.
Jessica, if I may, just one community note for the record. The Trump tax cuts cut taxes for virtually everyone who pays taxes. It wasn't just a tax cut for wealthy. Everyone who pays taxes got a tax cut. Extending these tax cuts would be tax cuts for everyone who pays taxes. And so this was like one of the biggest lies told about the bill when it passed in the first place. But there is verified, absolute verified reporting from numerous reputable news sources that virtually everyone who pays taxes got a tax cut. That's what Republicans stand for.
Go ahead, Christy. Did you want to jump in there?
The wealthy got by far the biggest share of that, Scott, as you know.
No, everybody who pays taxes got a tax cut.
There's two things that I took away from this. I love where in the beginning she said this is symbolic. The tax cuts, they want to fight that. It's symbolic for fighting for the little man. This is coming from the party of the elites, the party of the rich and famous, the party of the uber wealthy. That's what the Democrat Party is. So don't tell me about symbolism. When you're the elite, you don't stand for the little man. A long time ago, 50 years ago, you may. You probably need to find out what your party's all about these days. And then I love when Scott Jennings says, hey, a little community note here. Yeah. Taking a page out of X, taking a page out of Twitter. We're going to correct you here on this community note.
You know, that's why he needs to be on CNN, though, right? Because their listeners will listen to the left when they talk about Trump tax cuts. Look what they say. Oh, he's only giving tax cuts to the rich, and it doesn't benefit the rest of the hard-working Americans. I'm going to sit here in front of this TV. I'm going to take my limo home, and I'm going to get into my, $20,000 a month apartment and tell you that this won't help you. It does help you, and I'm glad that he was able to put that community note in. The Trump tax cuts helped everybody.
Scott Jennings, the reason why it works is because he is in a sea of madness, and he's the one person who points out straight, simple facts. The rest of them can be emotional. The rest of them can go ahead and spout their craziness. I love being on X right now to read so much of the time when these people get so upset. Like, for instance, there's no way that Trump is going to end up getting into office because they're going to use the 14th Amendment against him. It's like, do you not know how the legal system works? That's what Scott Jennings is basically doing. He's the dad in the room who basically tells you, okay, you made all these crazy points. Now I'm going to give you the truth. And you see how the response was. Almost nothing.
Yeah, there was no rebuttal, really. No, it is for the rich. That's who it is. That was arms to the side and talking point. That's exactly right. That's all they have. But the problem is, at least is the way I see it, not enough people see Scott Jennings and the brilliance of him.
No, it's what it is.
Because he's on CNN, and that's why, he's been relegated, because there's nobody there to watch him.
But if you put him on Fox News, it wouldn't resonate the same way.
No, you're right. You're right.
If you put him in any other forum as of now, outside of like MSNBC, which, oh, by the way, they're both fighting to be who's the lowest. Yeah. That's going to be the problem. It's that you don't have, and I still remember the story that Jesse Kelly brought up when he went over to Headline News and basically interviewed and basically, tried out. And he was like, man, I killed it. I smashed that woman that put me up against. And they're like, yeah, you did too good of a job.
That's right. You can't do that.
We can't have you on the air killing our liberal representatives. Okay, that's the game.
Yep. And yet, Scott Jennings does it maybe just in a nicer way. Maybe that's it, because Jesse's a little gruff.
Yeah.
And
he's clearly got the respect of the people that he works with. And you know what? It seems almost as if a lot of those CNN anchors know they're not telling the truth. And what are they going to do? They can't really fire back at him. And right now, CNN's in so much trouble for not being more bipartisan in their coverage that Scott Jennings is safe. Plus, he doesn't tell you, falsehoods or make things up. He's not out there, going like far right extremist ideas like they think that people throw out there. What he's talking about is, hey, this is what the Trump tax cuts do. They exempt your Social Security taxes from your income taxes. They do things for everyone. That's where the child tax credits were. That's where a lot of these things actually benefited most of Americans. It's important to go out there and tell the Americans the truth. And I think Scott Jennings really is a treasure there at CNN.
Scott Jennings is different from me, all right? Like, for instance, I tell you that COVID was BS. It was a total pandemic. I tell you that January 6th was a setup. Scott Jennings doesn't do any of this stuff. Scott Jennings basically colors within the lines and yet still tears you apart.
Even though I bet he thinks the same things.
Probably does, but he doesn't. But he does not set off the buzzwords. He doesn't do the things that set off the rest of CNN.
That would be a trap over there.
He plays their game and then tears them apart from it. But what it articulates is that it's not hard to tear them apart. It really isn't. Like, I had this discussion with a bit of a leftist over the weekend, and I had pointed out how if you watched any NFL coverage, not that you would, Tug, NFL coverage on Sunday, Fox made it a point when we got to the 1 o'clock time period that they went to Tampa Bay and they showed the moment of silence and honoring everyone that was a victim of the terrorist attacks in New
Unlike
Orleans.
CNN or ESPN, rather.
Thank you. So that was the point. And as I brought it up with this person, they said, well, that's because ESPN has tried to get away from the kneeling and everything else. And I said, how do you equate the two? It's a terrorist attack versus kneeling. But that's the mentality of what has gone in there. So Scott Jennings goes on CNN and he basically plays into their mentality and then tears them apart from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to tear people apart when all you're doing is giving them a community note every single time by telling them the truth and tearing down their lies. He looks brilliant just by saying, well, you're not telling the truth. Here's the truth. These tax cuts benefit everybody, including, all the Democrats. So you're going to have to deal with it, including our including low-income families. Child tax credits are in there. That's the truth. So they don't know how to respond to that because they don't have the information. They're told what to say. They fall for the same tricks. Their leaders continue to tell them, no, say Trump tax cuts are bad. And that's what they do. But they don't actually have any reference behind them where Scott does.
I guess I find it weird that I look at spending in 2020, and I've been incredibly critical of going to $7 trillion in government spending. And you can tell me, well, I mean, you had to deal with a pandemic. I'm sitting back and I'm saying this was a mistake. This was idiotic. This is something we shouldn't do. We shouldn't shut down the economy over a chest cold. But a lot of people died. They were 78 years of age on average. You should never have done this to me and my family. With all that then being said, they, on the other side, do not have any little areas where they go, that was a mistake.
No, they would just never. Don't. They would never admit, because if they admit any of it, it all unravels.
And I'm sitting back telling you, I'll give you the biggest mistakes of what has gone on in the past 4 or 5 years. Yet, their side never goes down that road, which is why, and they always try and say it about us, clearly I am not. It is a cult. You don't question the cult.
Well, yeah, because the reality of why they're fighting the tax cuts and everything is because they know that lowers the income the federal government makes off the American people, or that they steal from the American people in the taxes. They want more money to spend on their pet projects. That's why they're so against these, because it'll lower and reduce that federal tax revenue. And they don't want the federal tax revenue. They want to make money off the American people.
The tax revenue usually increases with tax cuts. That's the thing.
Right, but see, what they're pushing out there is if we cut it, then we won't have enough to help you and your family. And
let me keep my money. That helps me.
Right, exactly. And then you'll spend your money more, and you'll spend your money on an economy, a private industry, and you'll continue to build the economy. What they're thinking is, but what about my trail? What about Michelle Obama's Trail of Tears here in Decatur? How are we going to pay for that? How are we going to do this? Those are the kind of pet projects that they want the money for.
Leftist outlet Axios is in panic mode, y'all, that Trump is going to do what he said he was going to do. They described it as, quote, unprecedented spending to tighten borders and remove people here illegally, huge tax cuts, energy deregulation, plus presumably unprecedented spending cuts to help pay for it all. They hate every bit of this. They hate the plans that Trump has and that the American people support. All of a sudden, Democrats are talking about what will it cost. Interesting, though, their perspective when they talk about what will it cost. Not the American people. They're not asking what does this cost the American people. They're worried about what it's going to cost government, what they might have to give up in spending, what they might have to change in Washington, D.C. That's the real fear that the Democrats, the left, and Axios has all together, because it's never been about you. It's never been about saving you a dollar. It's never been about any of those things. It's about power and resources, using your resources for what they want to versus what you want. And that is what's happening. And that's why most of the leftists, especially in this article from Axios, is so worried about.
Well, yeah. Well, they're worried about Trump actually pulling back the IRA, which is the Inflation Reduction Act, for those who don't know, the green energy credits, all those green energy credits that actually don't do anything except for throw money around to Democrat friends. They're afraid. The fact of the matter is this: if we actually closed our border, we'd save American people a lot of money. They're not going to tell you the truth. Again, this is misleading only because they are stuck in that faculty lounge thinking of, Democrats are telling me that we need to help all people. But what we're doing is saving the earth with these green energy tax credits that really don't do anything except for enrich people like John Kerry.
Maybe I spent 4 years basically sitting back and saying, all right, I'm on the sidelines. I will just watch what happens. I will try and deflect where I can. I still remember this being better part of a decade ago. I had a coworker who was very upset about when the Republicans ended up taking over the House in 2010, and it shut down pretty much everything when it came to the Obama administration. They're like, the Republicans don't work with them. I was like, that's what I voted for. So I voted to derail everything that was going on for 4 years. I am really getting pumped up with the idea of, in 2 weeks, I get to do everything without apologizing to anybody. And, you know, the Uncle Chips of the world and everybody else, whenever they're like, what do you think about this spending? What do you think? I just say, sit back, enjoy the ride, and know that you lost. And that's it.
I saw your tweet.
You lost. I don't have to answer to you for anything.
Yeah.
So that's what it comes right down to. It's so much of this is, whether it's border security, whether it's mass deportations, all of this stuff. We don't have to answer to anyone for 2 years. Just make sure your ducks are in a row.
Yeah, but that's oftentimes the problem, right? Is that they don't have their ducks in a row. And that's my biggest fear. Call me snake bit, because I've seen the Republicans have this opportunity before and squander it.
I don't have a conscience about this stuff.
No, I don't either.
As you shouldn't, because you need to correct the things that the Biden administration has screwed.
And neither should our leaders. Hopefully they'll get away from that.
Let's us hope that's the case. When we come back on Extra 106.3, the Vegas bombing continues to just get more and more strange. Next on Extra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
The Atlanta Falcons season has come to an end. With the Buccaneers beating the Saints, the Falcons were eliminated from the playoffs, but still had a chance to go out with a winning record. Rookie QB Michael Penix Jr. shined with 312 yards, 2 passing TDs, and a rushing touchdown, as did Bijan Robinson, who ran for 170 yards and 2 TDs. But the defense couldn't buy a stop as they lost to the Panthers 38-44 in overtime, giving the Falcons their 7th losing season in a row. Now it's time to look towards the offseason and the draft, where Atlanta will have the 15th pick. For Extra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? That's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth, or they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
Hi, my name is Steve from Marietta, and we hired ATL Turfco to build our dream backyard golf setup. They installed a large 4-hole putting green, a sand bunker, a short game area, and did a full conversion to artificial grass around the pool with decorative retaining walls. ATL Turfco was really creative. They were efficient. The installation was a breeze. Price was completely reasonable, and I definitely appreciated their communication throughout the project. I would definitely recommend ATL Turfco to anybody thinking about doing a backyard makeover. You can check them out online right now at atlturfco.com.
Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal. Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
It's January 6th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. It's National Cuddle Up Day, and since January is a cold month, there's no better way to celebrate than with the one you love. Also, did you know that cuddling is good for your health? The act of cuddling releases the hormone oxytocin, which is known to help reduce blood pressure, stress, and anxiety. Also on this date, President Benjamin Harrison signed the charter for the Washington National Cathedral in 1893. CNN founder Ted Turner purchased the Atlanta Braves for $12 million in 1976, and Star Wars The Force Awakens passed the $760 million mark in 2016, breaking the North American box office record, which was held by the film Avatar. If it's your birthday today, you share it with the world's greatest detective, Sherlock Holmes, believed to have been born in 1854, and actress and comedian Kate McKinnon, born in 1984. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Xtra 106.3. With daily commentary you'll hear throughout the day. And he's on live with the Morning Xtra every Tuesday morning at 7:30. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3. And catch all of Neil's commentary on the Xtra app.
Reading this weekend about the guy down in New Orleans that was wearing like Meta glasses or some craziness, surveying all the things that he wanted to do and ultimately did down in Las Vegas. That story is just, it's incredibly sad, and it's infuriating at the same time that the FBI has a lot of people on the radar, and it's usually a grandmother praying in front of an abortion clinic, or a mom and dad at a school board meeting, sharing how they don't like what's being taught in their schools. Those are the type of people that get on the FBI radar, not the guy in New Orleans or the guy in Las Vegas. And that story, that one keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder, Lowe's.
Everything in New Orleans looks very much like, all right, somebody got fanatical and then decided to commit a horrible act where 14 people get killed and another 30-some injured by driving a truck right down Bourbon Street. And so but we've seen that in Europe.
In Europe, yes.
That's one of the common practices that goes on there when it comes to terrorist attacks. You use a vehicle, this is what you're going to do. Everything from Las Vegas, and this ended up breaking Friday afternoon, where Samuel Shoemate, who is somebody who he's known as a whistleblower, he's a lower level media member in terms of he's the guy you go to when you're trying to blow the whistle on the federal government. And it looks as if you had the scenario where Matthew Livisberger ended up sending him an email saying why he was doing the attack on Las Vegas. and pointed it out. And so the argument that has gone on is, are those emails legitimate? And the more that it kind of stands up to scrutiny, they do look legitimate. And his reasoning for this was he looked like he was suffering from PTSD, burdened by what he believes were war crimes that were done by the United States in Afghanistan. And then, because of his expertise in drone technology, he was also saying, oh, by the way, the Chinese are the ones that are parking the drones off of New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the police and the FBI both said, hey, those emails that he sent were him.
Yeah,
and
look legit.
They did come from him, and they are legit.
Which gives me pause immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it does, but it doesn't, because I believe that part. Now, what they did that distracted from was he did this because he was suffering from PTSD. Now, I'm not saying that's not the case, but he never mentioned killing himself. He never mentioned, he mentioned them chasing him down. Both the federal government and others were keeping him from trying to get to Mexico to escape from what the prosecution was going to be of him, because he was a whistleblower at this point. So this is getting weird. This is getting strange, but I believe him. I believe what he thinks about those drones. Those drones are absolutely technology that is either ours or China, and he was sure that there's going to be, and there is, a plan to attack with those drones. So it should be scary for everybody, and we shouldn't just push this aside at this point.
I guess there's a part of me that really gets what he was talking about when he was pointing out, here are the dates where there was an incident that happened in Afghanistan where we as a country in 2019 attacked a certain area because we believed that there was drug paraphernalia and drug smuggling that was going on. And as he pointed it out, I think the number was like 66 civilians. He's like, we killed them.
Yeah.
It's like, they're dead. He's like, he's like, women and children, we killed them. And that weighed on him. So by the time he's now talking about the drones, whatever, I mean, it seemed like an offshoot. I was paying a whole lot of attention to, this is a guy who is an 18-year veteran who looked at it and said, I can't live with this any longer.
Yeah.
I have to blow the whistle on what we did as a country.
Yeah. Some of that stuff I can buy into.
I buy into that without a problem.
But there's so much there that it meandered a little bit. I don't know, man. And anytime the FBI is immediately going, yep, that's right, that automatically automatically throws up the red flag.
They were almost put in a scenario where they had to.
Well, they didn't say that this is right. What they said was, this email came from him. We can't confirm anything in the email, which leads me to believe that they're being honest that it came from him, but they're not going to be honest about the contents of the email. They're never going to be like, yep, that's us. That's what we did. So, yeah, of course, they're never going to do that. But, of course, you're never going to trust the FBI. I'm not going to trust any of them at this point. It is a scary thought to know that this happened the way it did, because when you look at all the video, I watched all the video from every charging station all the way down. I watched all the timing of it. It seems very strange that he was able to get from where he was to Vegas at the time. I don't even know if it's this guy. All of a sudden now,
that's what I'm saying.
He's burned beyond recognition.
And the only thing that survived was his ID and his passport.
Well, remember,
who carries their passport with them all the time? I don't.
I want the dental records.
Samuel Shoemate, and he ended up going on Sean Ryan and did his podcast by Friday afternoon. And Sean Ryan, a former Navy SEAL, what was wild about what they brought up was that, remember, the federal government initially told us this guy shot himself in the head with a Desert Eagle, and they could not use dental records because of that.
Yeah.
Now, by the time that we see on CNN and we see the enhanced video, that dude is moving in the truck when it explodes.
Yeah.
Like, there's no melon being blown off there. And so there's a lot of this story that keeps getting weirder and weirder. And you know what? Unfortunately, it does. It plays into my conspiracy mind.
Absolutely.
Yes,
how can it
100%.
not?
Like,
how can you not question everything, as we always do?
Because I end up sitting back, and granted, I don't trust the federal government, but as far as I can throw Joe's, I was joking around about it. Now, like, it doesn't matter what you tell me. I pretty much sit back and go, you're lying to me or you're trying to tell me a story.
Well, here's where mine went. My mind went was, number one, he didn't shoot himself. Somebody else did, left him in the car. The car is a self-driving car. They had it go to where it needed to go and had it do what it needed to do. They shot him before then. That was my first thought behind it. This is my conspiracy theory, obviously.
But you see him moving.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I thought the same thing, too. I was like, that's a body.
Then I see him moving. Then I'm thinking, that email didn't come from him. They're trying to set this up to make him look crazy. All these things are,
Now we're getting to where I feel.
Yeah.
Now we're getting
now we're going into that realm.
Yeah.
Now we're getting closer to how
And then
I feel
thought,
about this.
maybe this guy did make it out and they used another person and are blaming it for him and they have no idea where this guy is. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't
have any
believe anything that is going to be reported in this case. I don't believe anything that's going to be reported in New Orleans either.
And by the way, when the federal authorities ended up saying over the weekend, well, we found a couple letters in the car. I'm like, I don't believe you.
Yeah, that's right. Me either.
I don't believe one bit about it when they're like, you know what? He's totally backing Donald Trump for the administration. I am looking at this and just saying, I believe this is a big case of a honorable man who was dealing with a whole lot of post-traumatic stress based on the service he had done and what he was dealing with in his mind, where if he's seriously pointing out 66 civilians and he was part of doing that, like if you're somebody,
that's the only thing that adds up.
Yeah,
that's the thing that adds up the most, where you just look at it and say, how, if you are humanitarian, whatever, that's hard to deal with.
Of course
if
it
you're
is.
somebody who's honorable.
That's exactly right, dude. That's the only
Women
part
and
of the
children,
story.
and he's like, I was part of that.
The only part of the story that I could go, maybe. But you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's possible. And nothing else, though.
And by the way, when it came to the investigation, it was viewed as, all right, this might be a potential war crime, but we're giving you a pass. That's what the United Nations looked at it as.
Goodness. The craziness of these two stories, and I'm still not convinced that they're separate stories.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced of that. I could be proven wrong and would be glad to listen. But nothing is giving me enough evidence to go, yep, you're right, there's nothing there. We talked about it last week, Rhino.
Contradictory.
Well, that and the whole, there were laptops and phones and all that stuff that have not been gone through, yet you're going to go ahead and make the decision that neither one of them were linked. They rented on the same app. They kind of, I just don't know.
Yeah, it is weird. And, his ex-girlfriend comes out and starts, just talking about how great of a guy he was and that he was actually sending her pictures, talking about how cool the truck he rented was and blah, blah, blah. And no thought of, hey, I miss you. Hey, if I don't come back, I'm going to try to get to Mexico. And if I don't come back, I'll try to get in touch. None of that. Like, I would think that if he, was having a conversation or reached out to her, he would have let on more than, hey, I just got a Cybertruck and it's cool.
Seems likely. Especially if
I'm going to disappear for a while.
There's an actual relationship.
Goodbye.
I mean, I guess there's the possibility of trying to put people off the path, of what you're up to.
Just remember, I love you.
Yeah, something.
But so much of those emails, he is talking about being monitored and being tracked by the federal government.
Yes.
And I think he has a significant belief in they will do. Again, if you believe that you are part of a war crime, do you really think that the government would stop with you?
Absolutely not.
No. That's what it came across to me.
By no means would they.
And they probably were following him.
But here's devil's advocate side of it, too. If you're suffering from PTSD and you're struggling with something that you were a part of, I think...
Reach out. Yeah.
Well, there's that, but then there's that part of it that... How can you? Are you able to... think straight.
No,
you know what I mean?
I've seen the other side of it where people come up with really just bizarre things. So, I get that.
That's just the other side. Today is a day to celebrate. Trump's officially certified the winner. And then there's one other thing we'll talk about next.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
The next couple of weeks going to be interesting as we move toward the inauguration of Donald Trump, the left-wing nightmare. Liberals, Democrats, they are beside themselves. They're losing their minds over this. A friend of mine, East Cobb, sent me a copy of a letter that he had taped to his mailbox. He had a Trump sign in his yard. Oh, my God. And the letter said this: "Hi, neighbor. You might not be aware that your Trump sign signifies hatred and division and looks repulsive in our neighborhood. It is synonymous with racism, misogyny, homophobia, and xenophobia." The letter writer forgot transphobia. We don't want our children looking up to bullies, liars, cheaters, or traitors, and your sign says that you are proud of supporting somebody who promotes these traits. It is offensive in so many ways. We believe in teaching our children better values than yours, like kindness, truth, and honesty. Hopefully, you were unaware of the message your sign sends to the residents who live here. It's truly not a good look, and we hope it wasn't intentional. Yeah, he put the sign out there by accident. Let's not define name of neighborhood with the negative values your sign speaks to. We are better than that. Decency is on the ballot, and we and our children know where you stand. As Maya Angelou wisely said, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Is this what you are? With concern, your neighbors. If I had this person on the radio and was interviewing them, number one, define racism. Then define homophobia. Now define xenophobia. And why did you forget transphobia? And they'd sit there, idiots. They're in every neighborhood. Neil Bortz, Xtra 106.3.
Convenience is defined as the state of being able to proceed with something with little effort or difficulty. Well, at RBM of Atlanta, we embody this philosophy. Meet our Mercedes-Benz pickup and delivery service. It gives you back time and money. Does your Mercedes-Benz need service? If so, we'll pick up your vehicle that's requiring service from your home or office and bring it back to our dealership for the required service. With over 100 appointments available every weekday, over 50 appointments on Saturdays, and more than 200 courtesy vehicles in our fleet, we're here to serve. We'll work around your schedule. We're here to save you time, energy, and money. RBM of Atlanta is a J.D. Power 2023 Diamond Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience and Georgia's only 9-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best winner. We're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Pickup and delivery service restrictions do apply. Ask your service coordinator or service advisor for details.
Hey, Atlanta, it's Mark from the Safe House. And now the security riddle of the day. When times get tough, where do you keep your stuff? Answer, in a quality safe from the Safe House, of course. Don't go to a big box store and get a fake safe. That would be as effective as Joe Biden's fake border policy. For over 30 years, the Safe House has been providing the best quality safes on the market. Brands like Browning, Fort Knox, and Champion. And with the largest selection of safes on display in Georgia, we're confident we can help you pick the right safe to fit your needs. So drop by our huge showroom or go to AtlantaSafehouse.com.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Winter is packing a punch. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and 60 million people are under alerts from Kansas, where they got over a foot of snow, to the East Coast.
Stay home, stay safe. Remember those folks out treating the roads or repairing utility lines.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. There are about 300,000 power outages. Missouri to Virginia, and more than 1,400 flights canceled. And as the storm moves east, Fox Weather's Mike Seidel reports from St. Louis.
Here's what's on the way. Another 5 to 8 inches of snow just getting underway in Philadelphia. Most of it will miss New York City, but a big storm for the Mid-Atlantic. Many schools are closed. So many kids, millions of kids from the Midwest and Plains to the East Coast are getting an extended Christmas break.
Washington, D.C. could get up to a foot of snow and ice. Yet Congress will still convene in a special session with extra security in place to certify President-elect Trump's victory. 4 years after the January 6th Capitol riot, when Trump supporters stormed in and interrupted Joe Biden's certification.
Asked if President-elect Trump is still a threat to democracy, President Biden answered,
I think what he did was a genuine threat to democracy. I'm hopeful that we're beyond that.
President-elect Trump has described January 6th as a day of love and could pardon many of the defendants charged in the riot.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. The president made the comments at a gathering welcoming new members of Congress. Today, he'll go to New Orleans, days after the New Year's terror attack. And Fox's Madison Scarpino reports.
And the New Orleans mayor says that the top priority now is increased security, and she plans to speak with President Biden about that. He's set to be here this afternoon with the First Lady to pray and mourn with the families of of the victims.
14 people were killed when Army veteran turned ISIS supporter Shamsuddin Jabbar drove a truck through a crowd till police killed him. Days after President Biden blocked a Japanese steelmaker from buying an American company, there's a lawsuit filed this morning by both Nippon Steel and U.S. Steel trying to preserve their $15 billion merger. America's listening to Fox.
If pain is affecting your life, I have the perfect New Year's resolution for you. Make 2025 the year of feeling good again, the year of moving better, sleeping better, feeling more alive, and do it with Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, it doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Over 1 million people have turned to Relief Factor. Feel the difference it can make in your life. Give their 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. You can start feeling better in 3 weeks or less. And every day you feel better is a day you live better. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, make 2025 the year of feeling good again. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Start your day with live and local conservative talk with Tug, Rhino, and Carlos Medina on the Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Xtra.
My best one.
I'm telling you, it was good, man, and we did it so succinctly. You'd have never known. You'd have never known. Unless you're watching on YouTube, you'd have never known.
I have not gotten an answer from management yet as far as what we're going to do when the weather rolls into town later this week. But management is aware.
Yeah, aware, yes.
And even traffic as far as planning our schedule. I went and talked with Miss Tiffany who runs that, and she just said, we're planning for all things. So the meeting that's going to go on at 9 o'clock today, department head meeting, they're going to start throwing around ideas.
Hash it all out.
What to do if we get some nasty weather.
And I've been sitting here watching on this anniversary of January 6th, the extreme violence of this insurrection. Oh, no. And it's difficult to watch, y'all. It is. There was a long hallway. This is the south doors of the Capitol. And it's lined from the doorway all the way past to where the camera is set up, which looks to be a good, 50 yards, just guessing. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And it's lined with officers and some
stanchions.
Well, I know there's no stanchions in this particular one. Oh, okay. But some guys dressed in what looks like SWAT gear. They look military, but we know there were no military there. So they had to be DC police, or Capitol Police. Yeah. And so you see the people walking through, one or two at a time, and then there's a group of 3 or 4 at a time.
You just said violent, and you're...
It doesn't sound violent to you? That's because it's not. Yeah, they just continue to just kind of wander through, and there's at points where people are talking to each other, and you'll see the Capitol Police pointing that way.
Whoa! Maybe they didn't follow directions.
Probably
that. 5 officers died.
Well, but that's...
Oh, no, they're like 20-something.
No, I think you guys have been watching the mainstream media.
That was one of the other things that I've read from one of the Kamala Harris backing sites about pointing out that, this particular officer died, and yes, that's a tragedy. Oh, by the way, it was from natural causes the next day because he had a brain aneurysm.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with what went on.
Yeah. Yeah, this is super difficult to watch. I mean, y'all know how I am. I just don't have the stomach for violence anymore. I don't like to see stuff like this.
Yeah.
But this particular one was an officer holding a door for a person to walk inside.
Oh, my God. How'd you get through that?
It was tough. It was
tough. You need a safe space?
Possibly.
This is what we should expect, though, from the media today. If you go to Politico.com, front page, you'll see a woman holding up officer, I believe his name was Howard. They called him Howie Liebengood. They said he made it through without any physical injuries.
So did everybody was lined up down this hallway.
This is one of the ones they said died because of January 6th, though. Okay, so now you have a whole, what Jan 6 did to Officer Howie Liebengood? He killed himself, obviously. 20 years before January 6th, Al Gore stood up to his own party. Mike Pence was watching. Donald Trump is about to get the Jan 6 that he denied Joe Biden. These are all the headlines today. They want to continue this whole threat to democracy, this fake story.
I lost my grandfather on September 11th, 2004.
Yeah. That was before it was the September 11th that we know.
So I get to use that one, though, right?
Yes, absolutely, dude, because immediately as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, wow.
You're like, oh, my God, did September 11th, he had...
Can I tell you something that really happened?
Texas in 2004.
Can I tell you something that really happened? My dad died on my anniversary. My wife and I's 18th anniversary. That really happened.
Yeah.
Well, then your anniversary killed your dad.
But exactly.
Yeah.
You could have, if you're a Democrat or a Democrat writer or a leftist writer, you could absolutely make that headline.
One of and it's now been like 15 years, Curb Your Enthusiasm on HBO with Larry David. They wrote an episode 15 years ago where the argument was one of his friends kept talking about losing a family member on 9/11, and he was like, it was uptown. Like, he got hit by a bicycle rider. But the guy was claiming because it happened on that day, why I lost so-and-so on 9/11.
Because it works.
It's the same concept.
Yeah,
I mean, he was mocking it at that time.
That's right.
You know, it is weird, too. CNN, the first story, the message Trump sends by inciting a riot and regaining power. The one story I'm missing is the information that came out this weekend of Liz Cheney having Cassidy Hutchinson fire her attorney, then got an attorney for Cassidy Hutchinson. The story then changed once Liz Cheney gave her that. I don't see anything about Jan 6, and we would have more footage, but Liz Cheney and the entire Jan 6 committee destroyed millions and millions of pictures.
The made-for-TV episode.
Yeah, none of that. That's weird. None of this is on any of those websites at all. It's just strange. They're going to continue this, though. You don't think that Jan 6 every year will be some kind of, I don't know how to say it, like, fake story, really. Besides that, like, they're going to make a fake event out of this every year.
Less and less of Americans will fall into the, oh my gosh, look what happened. Fewer and fewer, because we learn more and more on how this was a complete setup. This is a complete inside job. That's why I believe that fewer and fewer people, just like today, fewer and fewer people are reading about Jan 6th because they know what happened. There's nothing to be found out anymore. I mean, you'll find out small details about how things were set up even worse than you expected. Like, you'll probably find some of that stuff out. But, I mean, I think fewer and fewer people are falling for the January 6th hoax at this point. But interesting today that Donald Trump will be certified as the winner of the 2024 election. Sometimes life has a unique way of lining things up. And you know, maybe it's, let me give you an example. Yesterday, we were coming home from South Carolina, and my son, you could tell he was a little bit apprehensive, you know, just about us leaving. My wife was a little apprehensive. And on our way home...
Buc-ee's?
No, there's not a Buc-ee's on the way, but...
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. That would have helped. That would have probably softened all the blow. No, but like, as the songs, because obviously I'm a big music guy, the songs...
Cats in the Cradle?
Every one of them had some sort of connection, though. You know what I mean? Like, the first song that played was from Lee Brice, a South Carolina native. And then Jacob always used Crazy Train because he loved Chipper Jones. To Go to the Plate, that was the next song it played. And I was like, look, how everything's lining up. Everything is going to be just fine, because my wife's in tears. And I'm like, it's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. He's just fine. He's just fine. But I think life has a way of giving you little God winks.
Little reminders.
Yeah, little
things
reminders.
Things are going to be all right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what will happen. I think more and more people will just see these as nonsense.
I would like to think that as you're driving home, like, you're getting your Cat Stevens moment.
Yeah.
And now your faucets from your eyeballs are going.
Yeah, no. I don't feel like I was a horrible dad. I mean, I feel like I did okay. You know? He's all right.
I mean, it doesn't mean you're a horrible dad. It just means, like, listen, I'm busy.
You're super into your work. Oh.
Yeah.
boy moon and a man.
Like you're just you're not absent. You're just
well, but you kind of are.
You're just kind of
absent.
I'm busy.
Yeah,
I'm doing stuff.
Got time for you, kid.
I mean, right now you got a morning show, and then you got radio shows in the Carolinas and everything else, and sometimes Dad's a little bit busy.
Yeah, no, it does.
It's like you're like Rhino, where Rhino like has time for his son to like take him in the woods
they
and
go
do cool
paddleboarding
stuff and everything. Yeah. Not you.
No, I was working too much.
You're like, can you teach me to catch? No, not today, son.
No. Got some things going on. We'll get back to. We'll rendezvous back tomorrow. His little Godwins.
That's where you're crying on the way home.
Seriously, and then I drove us off the road.
I taught him how to catch.
That's right. And then I drove us off the road. It was terrible. Wow, man. So horrible story, but a great song. It is, and a song that will help you realize, slow down, take a step back,
take some time,
and you can't take it with you when you go.
No,
right? All that money that you make, you can't take it with you.
All that paddleboarding,
paddleboarding.
That built something there.
Exactly right. Built relationship, built memories.
You got a moat. You didn't have time for paddleboarding.
Well, that's because I was working for that moat.
Yeah,
had to pay. Somebody got to pay for it.
Someone.
Who's going to pay for it?
Yeah, Laura ain't chipping in.
That's right.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, but that's the thing. As we're driving home, everything was turned out to be okay. January 6th, everything's okay. Donald Trump, this is the symbolism that Donald Trump is going to be certified on January 6th.
Great. I just love that the person who has to certify this is Kamala Harris. Like we brought this up like 2 or 3 months ago, saying the karma aspect.
Yeah.
If this occurs at the time, because the election was still relatively close in terms of the polling, we said she's going to have to be the person who gives, and so like Hillary Clinton, you're going to have to give the job to the person that you hate.
Yo, my God.
You got to sign off on this.
Yeah.
And the federal government, let's face it, it hates Donald Trump. That's what makes me such a fan.
I'm so excited to watch today. Like, I'm hoping that it's covered everywhere, and I'll watch all day to find it because this is all I want to see is Kamala Harris. Besides, maybe she'll sing, maybe she'll do the Pledge of Allegiance again. I know she doesn't know the words yet, so maybe she'll get another. I'm shit for that. What a joke.
We've been doing that since elementary school.
What a dummy. That woman is just such a waste of human life. Oh,
how do you mess up the Pledge of Allegiance?
It's
impossible. I mean, it literally is impossible.
I mean, every day from like 1st through 5th grade, I did it.
Well, she hates America.
We did it first through 12th.
Oh, easy. Yeah, I did it through 12th grade.
Yeah, now that I think about it, it might have gone into middle school. Every day started with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Every day.
And hasn't changed. Well, and didn't change then. I guess, I don't know if I guess they don't do it many places anymore, but the fact
she's
that
going to fix the economy.
Yeah, well, that's what she said.
She can't even recite something that we've learned from 1st grade. You think if you didn't learn that, you think you learned about the economy? Oh, God.
Not a freaking
I'm
chance.
so glad that this worked out the way it did.
Yeah,
because 4 years with her, this country would be gone.
What would be symbolic? Like, is there a song like Cats in the Cradle or, like that would be symbolic for her as she's certifying and signing her name,
like ending her career?
Yes. What is there something that you would play? Like, would there be something you'd hit play on?
I have an idea.
I think I have an idea too.
Nah.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
Hey,
I'm just looking at Joe, and I'm just like, okay, Joe and I, we both know what we would do.
WAP.
Well, no, probably not.
But it is.
Funny, though.
It's a symbolic end of her career.
Yeah. There's a Rascal Flatts song called Payback. There's the James Brown song called Payback. Metallica's Here Comes the Revenge.
Imagine.
What about something about Return to the Streets? Down on her knees. Something like that. Any good songs
Maybe
like that?
Justin Timberlake. Cry Me a River. That's the one that she's going to be playing in the background as she's signing.
I find it strange that the only way that the leftists are able to cope with this loss is to think about running her again the next time around.
And
as if she was a good candidate to start with.
Well, listen, I agree with him.
She was a terrible candidate.
I agree with him. I think that's the best candidate they have. I think that, she can work harder.
He is winking so hard at me right now.
No, he's not. No, he's not, Democrats. He is full-fledged in hook, line, and sinker.
There's no one I fear more than Kamala Harris.
Listen, she really got me to think maybe I'm going to change my ways and vote for her.
If only she could have spent $4 billion.
Yeah, she didn't spend enough. I hope she could spend more this time.
Gosh, me too.
I think she needs more celebrities on her side. I think she needs to get into get Diddy to, really do a show instead of just endorsing her. More of those.
Dude, and that's
more Nicki Minaj's.
That was what got
I'm
brought
all
up.
in.
$2 billion in a short amount of time with the celebrity, with the media, and she got stomped. That should tell you what America thought of her as a candidate. If you were to have a better candidate, backed by $2 billion over 2.5 months.
Not even just a little, just a decent candidate, not a great one.
Somebody who could actually remember, this was the crazy part about that entire process. We came on this station and we talked about, why is she doing the interviews now? Why was she going on The View? Why was she going on The Daily Show? And everything was because her own voters aren't voting for her.
No, they won't. They won't.
How crazy is that?
Not only you're running a campaign on joy because you have nothing about issues, and you think, okay, well, they're playing to her strength, but they're not. No, she's not likable. Her own community doesn't like her. There was more. I didn't see very many people who support Donald Trump or the Republicans saying, hey, she's not really black. I saw that more on her side with black voters that were saying, she's not this, she's not that, she's fake, she's this. Nobody believed in her. I think they will, and I hope they do. In 2028, this woman's going to come back. She's going to be way more believable. She'll have more money to spend, more celebrity backing. I think she's a great candidate.
Listen to this. I'm not here to roast you tonight. I want you to know that as I stand here. How could I really? You're so famous, so talented, so powerful. I mean, you could really do anything. I mean, except for tell the country who to vote for. That was Nikki Glaser at the Golden Globes last night.
It was funny. It was funny.
So a lot of I didn't watch it. I've read about it this morning. She was coming down on those fools.
I did listen to her monologue. Now she did not go Ricky Gervais on this. She was a lot more throttled back, but it was still funny. I mean, she built her opportunity based on the Tom Brady roast, which, by the way, she didn't pull one punch there.
Man, I've seen that one. Holy cow. I wish that's what she would have done at the Golden Globes. I wish she'd had the courage to do it.
But good for her.
Look, she's been doing the roast and the Jeffrey Ross things for a long time. And she has a pretty funny stand-up. But don't get it wrong, she changed her ways. But I think, the reality is that I think comedians got more comfortable and okay with being a little bit more conservative and seeing more common sense ideas because Nikki Glaser, she didn't say a thing, Glaser, up until all of a sudden Kamala Harris loses. Same thing with a lot of these comedians.
Convenient.
Yeah, Whitney Cummings, another one who came out, but these are probably their true feelings, but never felt safe. I like what's happening now because I think Dave Chappelle kind of led the way in this and saying, and Ricky Gervais as well in the UK, but because of such recognition here in this country, it changed the way comedians are thinking.
We're in a scenario now where 3 years ago, you couldn't say the things that you were saying now.
Not at all. You'd be canceled.
And immediately, it was like, oh, we won't buy your tickets, or we won't support your specials. Or now it's turned into and I credit Joe Rogan when he talked about creating the mothership. He was like, this is the Alamo of free speech, of comedy.
I love it.
It's like, it's the last place it exists. And now other comedians are like, it's cool to make fun of these people, which we've always, I don't care Democrat or Republican, we've always made fun of powerful people.
And that's what Saturday Night Live used to do.
We should.
And I think maybe
they
feel comfortable.
Moving
they're feeling a little more comfortable.
I mean, Dana Carvey, when he would do his George Bush.
Hysterical, dude.
Thank you.
So funny.
By all means.
Yeah, and I, and my family voted for him.
I mean, Will Ferrell, when he would do his George W. Bush.
Oh my gosh.
Funny.
Off the charts.
Look, I had no problem with Alec Baldwin's Donald Trump.
No,
it was really funny.
Go for it,
really
man.
good.
Have at it.
But that's the thing. We're okay with laughing at ourselves. Democrats are not.
Tina Fey, best Sarah Palin ever.
Yep.
Totally.
That was amazing. She made her career off that Sarah
Yeah, she
Palin.
went on a run. Like
Yeah.
that elevated her from the writer who's on SNL to that is who she is.
When we continue, the Mar-a-Lago meeting and the plans to execute America's agenda. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Everybody out there hiding the sad decline of Joe Biden, the President of the United States. They knew about this. They understood that he was in severe cognitive decline. They understood that he was in no shape to be running this country. And understanding that, they had to wonder who is calling the shots. Yeah, the Democrats knew it, but it wasn't their job to report it to us, to let us know. The mainstream media knew it. It was their job to let us know, but they failed miserably and intentionally.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 3 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffers from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. We provide testosterone replacement therapy, the P-shot, and treatment for ED, PE, and Peyronie's disease. There's not just one therapy that can solve these complex issues. When you visit our clinic, you're going to see me. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. 404-777-1911. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. 404-777-1911. Online at tbtofga.com.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
One of the hardest things to do is to walk away from a paycheck. As retirement planners, Masterplan knows how hard it can be to pull the trigger on your own retirement. Don't go it alone. Masterplan is a holistic retirement planning firm that works with you to create a retirement plan to help maximize your golden years. Through income planning and money management, legacy planning, and tax planning, we create a plan specifically designed for your life. Enter retirement with confidence. Contact Masterplan to analyze your retirement outlook and create a plan that's right for you. All initial consultations are complimentary, so contact us today and begin your pursuit towards peace of mind. Visit masterplanretire.com. Masterplan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consulting. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Fox on Tech. Hey Siri, how much money you got? Apple is agreeing to settle a class action lawsuit that argued its Siri personal assistant, accessible through iPhones, iPads, and Mac computers, had been violating users' privacy. The settlement amount is $95 million in cash. The case was filed in the U.S. District Court in Northern California. Those plaintiffs argued the digital assistant would record conversations even when being inadvertently activated, and that users expected those conversations to be private. But the recordings were transmitted to Apple and disclosed to third parties like advertisers whose products would appear in ads on their phones shortly after they were discussing them. The judge in the case still needs to agree to the settlement. $95 million represents a very tiny sliver of Apple's yearly profits, which exceed well over $90 billion on average. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, January 6th, 2025. Leroy Ramos, a 47-year-old MARTA bus driver, leaves behind a wife, 2 daughters, and a son after being fatally shot during a dispute over a bus fare. Union workers and loved ones gathered on Sunday at Decatur MARTA station for a balloon release to honor Ramos. Police have arrested 2 juvenile suspects so far and are searching for a third who remains at large. Ramos' loved ones have started an online fundraiser to help cover funeral costs. Gwinnett County police are investigating the shooting of a 15-year-old at the Mall of Georgia on Saturday night. Police arrested 18-year-old Caden Javar Williams of DeKalb County and charged him with aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. He is being held without bond. And in business news this morning, the 10-year Treasury yield rose by more than 2 basis points to 4.6%, while the 2-year Treasury was up by less than 1 basis point to 4.2%. Investors are awaiting key jobs data set to be published throughout the week. Meanwhile, U.S. equity futures showed little movement this morning. Futures tied to the Dow were flat. S&P futures gained 0.16%, and NASDAQ futures rose 0.24%. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Extra 1063.
When I say January 6th, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Of course, the so-called insurrection. You got that? The so-called insurrection.
Oh,
yeah. That's one thing that might come to your mind on January 6th. The fact that Donald Trump will be certified by the signature of Kamala Harris is another thing that's happening today on January 6th. Justin Trudeau is expected to step down potentially today.
The governor of Canada?
The new governor of Canada.
Oh, sweet.
You know, the first time you said that, I was like, why did he call? And then it was like, oh, yeah.
We're going to annex. We're going to make it the 51st state.
I mean, you said it like 6:05, so I mean, it's still a little bit slow on the uptake there. And I was not ready for Rhino humor at 6:05. Now I was like, that's really smart.
Yeah, hadn't had your zero FG
That's
yet.
right. Hadn't got enough caffeine in the system yet.
But he was so adamant in his strength and his resiliency and how strong he is and how great he's doing. And all the Canadians, you know, they jumped on there and hey, Trudeau's the greatest, blah, blah, blah. Then why is, I'm sorry, I must be confused because all the information I got is he's the greatest governor of all time and he's been doing such great things for the people of Canada. Well, then why would he step down?
If you listen to actual Canadians, they would tell you the exact opposite, right? Those people would tell you that he's not so great. But I want to tell you what happened on January 6th, 1976. Did y'all realize that there was a date that important? January 6th, 1976?
Wow.
Something as big as anything else that I've ever read about. And that is when Ted Turner bought the Atlanta Braves.
Let's go.
January 6, 1976. He bought them from the Atlanta LaSalle Corporation. And obviously he was known as the owner and in the Atlanta Constitution at the time, as it was called, the Atlanta Constitution, the newspaper. Channel 17 owner, Ted Turner, to buy the Braves for $12 million. $12 million in 1976. That's
worth like at least 14 now, right?
You would think. Who knew, though, that January 6th was such an important date to so many people in Atlanta, Georgia?
Yep.
Turns out.
That's a great pull. I love that.
I mean, granted, today's Ted Turner, a little bit out there, a lot out there. But man, you want to talk about putting Atlanta on the map?
No kidding.
Like
as much as
I can give credit to what Arthur Blank and Bernie Marcus have done, you know, from a business standpoint, when you talk about a media standpoint, making Atlanta like a factor in the world, that was Ted Turner.
Think about what Atlanta does these days. Some of the biggest conventions for businesses,
in the world.
World Congress Center,
the world's busiest airport.
Busiest airport. You got the college football playoff national championship.
Yeah.
You're going to have the Super Bowl. You're going to have the All-Star game. You had a World Series.
Ted's got a big part in this.
Yeah.
He's the one that opened the door for all of it.
Yeah, highest crime rate in the city.
Well, man,
absolutely. Did a great job.
Well, I don't think Ted Turner has a part in that.
Yeah, he brought CNN and they're leftists.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
I got a little upset.
But you want to be an international city.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's amazing.
And
rather than a
the Olympics,
podunk
too.
outpost.
Yeah.
I mean,
a railroad crossing.
We are no. It had this been without Ted Turner, we're Memphis.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
We're just
Small
like, hey,
Charlotte.
just small. Here's the place. We're Charlotte. Yeah.
No, he definitely deserves a lot of credit. Plus, Ted's Montana Grill, and they give
Let's
you free
not forget
pickles.
that.
That's
Let's
so
not
good.
forget that.
Can't fight that bison meat.
No,
it is
very
so
good.
tasty.
No, look, he did a lot for this city, and really, I mean, CNN was a brilliant thing when I was growing up. Loved it. I loved to be able to see live video from everywhere in the world when things were going on. I mean, he really changed the way the media is and was, and at that point, it was a good thing. Now we know what it turned into, but
Remember, we're going back now 40 years. Nearly there. We actually had CNN that took us to the heart of the Gulf War in the early 90s. Like, we had such a thing as a scud stud. We had people that were reporting on the ground of what was going on.
Nothing like it before.
It had never been seen before. A live video of an actual war zone of what was going on at the time.
Missiles being fired.
Now things have obviously changed, and it's turned into what it's turned into, and that's just what it is.
But it's funny growing up as an outsider to this and growing up in New York, TBS and TNT, they became such a part of our lives there that, we got to see the Andy Griffith Show. Like, we never saw that in New York except for there. Then we got to see the Braves. And there is such a stereotype of what Georgia was up there. Like, everybody up there thought, oh, they still have horse and buggies. Like, what a weird country place that is. And they're the most.
I wish they were
thought it was the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, they did. Everybody
Where's
did.
Hazzard County?
Oh, I wish. Yeah.
Covington, actually.
But it
is
was
where it
funny.
is.
New Yorkers are so naive in that. That's what they thought. So having Ted Turner do what he did to the city really kind of changed the thought process of what Atlanta was, what Georgia was, and why, it was attractive for someone like me to go, hey, no, all those are lies. I want to go live there.
Turner time, when they would start everything at 05.
Yes, 05.
7:35, 7:05, whatever it was. Jeff is in Canada. Calling in at 404-741-1230. Jeff, what's up, man?
First state.
Good day, mate.
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
Well,
Good,
Jeff,
sir.
thank you.
And I hope everything goes well down there in Washington and Trump gets locked in there.
Yeah. How you feeling
And
about
hopefully-
Trudeau and what's all that
Yeah, Jeff,
about?
what's going on with you guys?
Yeah, what's that about?
We woke up this morning and saw that. Everybody was just happy. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning and I saw that that was happening. I was like, thank God.
Thank you, Jesus.
Jeff, let me ask you this, because again, you're in another country, our neighbors. But I want to know, like, for instance, when the truckers situation occurred, like, what was the general mentality? Because what was spun to us within our own media was, well, a majority of Canadians all agree with this of suspending their money and going after their bank accounts. But, a lot of us in the States were sitting back and saying, wow, this guy is running a tyrannical government.
Oh, exactly. All you saw was what our national news said. The person on the street was for the truckers. Myself, I was up there 3 times because I'm not far from Ottawa, and it was fabulous.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love seeing that.
Jeff, let me ask you one more question, though. I mean, most of this is about the inflation, the cost of goods. I mean, is Labatt Blue just too out of reach for most Canadians right now?
Yeah, do you have to come to the States to buy Labatt?
Yeah.
Well, the beer is cheaper in the States. I'm in a border town, so we actually went across to the States yesterday to have breakfast, and it was cheaper than having breakfast here.
Did you have a beer with your breakfast?
I wish.
Thanks, Jeff.
There we go.
Thank you,
God,
Jeff.
I love Jeff.
Appreciate it. I love when Jeff checks in from Canada. I'm
Me
like,
too.
all right, we get to find out what they got going on over there, and at the same time, getting the perspective of what they view us is what we got going on over here.
International shows what we are.
We are. I wanted to get some insight
Worldwide.
into my New York Rangers and why they suck in hockey right now.
I have to get Jeff to call back on that one.
Get his number next time.
That's right. That way we can give him a holler. He'll know.
Yeah, whenever we get the app data and we look at what kind of a crazy spread there is, like across the Southeast, and then you'll see here are the random people that we have that are listening in Canada and over in Europe. We're like, that's
Absolutely.
pretty cool.
It is
Fiji.
super cool. and the Netherlands. And
Netherlands is huge.
Random.
Alaska. We're big in Alaska, believe it or not.
Well, rightfully so.
If you're out there in Alaska, look, if you're listening right now from anywhere in the world, I got a thing from Finland. Did you see that, by the way?
I missed that.
Yeah, so apparently he's got a... I guess it's just some super antenna. And so they're in the middle of like ice fishing in the middle of nowhere, and they put it up and they try to hear different stations, and he could listen to it.
Is it the one that sent the sample?
Yeah.
I was afraid to download it. I even emailed him back. I was like, dude, I'm afraid to download this.
Yeah, you can hear a promo with you in it, extra on it, but it's like really staticky.
Okay,
It was pretty amazing.
Oh, that's cool, man. I'm not kidding, man. I was like, I'm afraid to download this.
I've told this story before on this station, and again, it's not a lie. I'll see if I can dig up the video. But there was the one time where a podcast that I used to do with a coworker, and we would see what is with this person in India? Like one person in India who's listening.
Right.
And then when we looked into it and we joked around about it on the podcast, the person sent us a picture of where they were. They were actually a guide on Everest, and they would listen to the show from base camp.
What?
Yeah,
That's
like
insane.
it was like the craziest thing. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, so you never know where people are listening from.
Okay, let me just tell. His name is Jari Ruhamaki, I guess.
Okay.
He's in Finland, and it was such a long letter, but what he's saying that he was able to hear our station at 12:30 a.m. is what he listened to on New Year's Eve at 3 a.m. in the morning. So we were running a best of is what was happening, and he said to hear WFOM was a huge surprise. On the other hand, really enjoyed it. This is Extra 106.3. You can hear these words from 6 to 15 seconds. The reception's very weak, so that's why when I listen to it, you could barely hear. But apparently he just has an antenna. It's 3,300 feet long copper wire, and he directs it towards North America, and that's how he heard us in Finland.
All right.
So if you're listening, it's great to have you on.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for not trusting you.
Yes.
I should have downloaded what you sent me.
I'm telling you.
I just thought you were trying to.
I'm not kidding.
Trying to get access to my bank account.
I was like, I can't download this. I'm sorry, sir. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
I was waiting on it to buzzers to go off in engineering and whatever. Goodness. Down in Mar-a-Lago, they're putting together plans with Donald Trump to push America's agenda. That's the thing that I think oftentimes they'll call it Trump's agenda, but it's really America's agenda because that's what they voted for in record numbers.
As Democrats will tell you, there's so much chaos on the other side. It's all chaos. They can't even get a speaker elected in one vote. They did. I mean, they all blew their load early on that one by just screaming and yelling about everything and not being able to get it done. And they didn't even realize how politics work. And they just look dumber and dumber than ever. By the way, Stacey Plaskett, what an idiot. This woman is a complete moron. She gets up and makes a complete fool out of herself during the confirmation vote. But what this did was it shows the unity in the party. And now Trump's saying, hey, let's get down to Mar-a-Lago. Let's all get together where we have nobody else that can interrupt us in Washington, D.C. Plus, I think he obviously feels a lot safer there. But bringing them all in because now they're going to meet and talk about the agenda moving forward and making sure, because this is a place you can go in and Trump can say, hey, listen, Thomas, this is what we're going to do. So shut up, follow, what we're doing. This is what we want to get done. Get in line. And I think this is a great way to get everybody in line for an agenda that will help America.
When you sit back and think about it, the worst place to do business, it seems to me, would be in Washington, D.C. I mean, because you got reporters on every corner. You got somebody's leaking this and that and the other thing. It's not happening in Mar-a-Lago.
Men coming in your women's bathroom.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff that you're probably not prepared for. Where you have... It's just like being at work versus being at home, right? At work, there's always something going on. You can't stop and concentrate on whatever it is. If you're at home, you're able to do that, the things that matter to you and your family.
Well, I give Donald Trump and I give this administration a lot of credit for this reason. The corrections that were made from 2016 as far as distractions and people that are really not part of your agenda, the people that are really not pulling on the rope in the same way. It seems, and this started with, we're not going to take any of the daily briefings. You might be like, well, why would not the presidential candidate take daily briefings? Because Donald Trump and his administration realized they will then take those daily briefings, they'll take a piece of information, they'll say that we leaked it. It's like they will use this against us.
Yeah.
It's like, so they basically just said, we're isolating ourselves and we're focusing on business.
Yep. Got to do it. 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. When we come back, if you work for the federal government, you got to do your job.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
The Atlanta Falcons season has come to an end. With the Buccaneers beating the Saints, the Falcons were eliminated from the playoffs, but still had a chance to go out with a winning record. Rookie QB Michael Penix Jr. shined with 312 yards, 2 passing TDs, and a rushing touchdown, as did Bijan Robinson, who ran for 170 yards and 2 TDs. But the defense couldn't buy a stop as they lost to the Panthers 38-44 in overtime, giving the Falcons their 7th losing season in a row. Now it's time to look towards the offseason and the draft, where Atlanta will have the 15th pick. For Extra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
Hi, I'm Jaron Solomon from Solomon Brothers Jewelers, here to tell you about an incredible event going on the entire month of January at all 3 of our showrooms. It's Solomon Brothers Jewelers' January Bling Back event. All this month, bring in your old gold jewelry, watches, diamonds, and more, and let us buy them back for cash. Now is the best time to sell your old jewelry because the price of gold is the highest it's ever been, and we will pay you top dollar for all your old pieces. So go through your jewelry box, pick out the pieces you don't wear anymore, then bring them into Solomon Brothers and let us buy them back. We'll take the all gold necklaces, rings, tennis bracelets, earrings, pendants, and more. If it's old and it's gold, don't miss our January Bling Back event. Your opportunity to turn your old jewelry into cash. Going on all month long at all 3 of our Solomon Brothers showrooms on Peachtree Road in Buckhead, Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta, and on Fisher Crossing Drive in Sharpsburg. You can learn more and always shop online at SolomonBrothers.com or on Instagram at Solomon Brothers.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? You know, that's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth, or they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there, napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kemmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
You may know that ATL Turf Co. has become a leader in artificial grass design and installation services, but you may not know that ATL Turf Co. is a large artificial grass distributor. We only sell U.S.-made, premium name brand turf at factory direct pricing below wholesale. And now we're open to the public with large inventories of lawn and landscape, putting green, athletic, and pet turf on sale. Plus, all remnants are on sale for only $1 per square foot, direct from Dalton to our warehouse in Kennesaw. Visit atlturfco.com to learn more. atlturfco.com.
At Nelson Elder Care Law, we understand that family's everything. That's why we prioritize your family's future with personalized asset protection solutions. Call us today to schedule your legacy planning meeting and discover how our team can tailor our services to meet your family's unique needs, ensuring a secure and worry-free future. NelsonElderCareLaw.com.
Securing America.
As the investigation continues into the terror attack in New Orleans on New Year's, which killed 14 people, so does the reaction. Incoming Trump border czar Tom Homan, appearing on CBS's Face the Nation Sunday, said a big part of the problem is
we know there's people in this country who pose a national security threat.
On the same program, House Intelligence Committee Chair Republican Mike Turner of Ohio issued this warning about the people Homan referred to.
Terrorists affiliated with ISIS that intend to do Americans harm that are here in our country. We do not know where they are.
On Fox News Sunday, Louisiana Senator Republican Bill Cassidy said the risk is part of the price for living in freedom.
Wherever there's a street festival in a big city, there's a potential for something bad to happen.
He added, though, that New Orleans will be ready for next month's big event.
I feel comfortable that when the Super Bowl comes, it'll be an incredibly secure environment.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
The Extra 106.3 app is your live connection to the station, streaming free across Georgia. But it's also loaded with all our original shows and podcasts. Listen to exclusive shows from Janelle King, Ben Burnett, and so many more. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra until 10. Then the Glenn Beck program, Clay Travis and Buck Sexton in the local afternoon show with the Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. So this is the first work week, full work week of the new year. Starting with today, January 6th, we'll all be at the office for 5 days. And then, the next week, it'll be the same thing. Well, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Unless that is, you work for the federal government, then you might not.
White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. So he was doing the rounds yesterday, and I love this. I love that we're not putting ourselves in a scenario where you're playing patty cake with this stuff. Well, we'll see what we're going to do. Well, whether it's Homan or anybody else, like, hey, no, we're deporting these people. Here's what we're going to do. When it came to Stephen Miller, he brought up that you have Joe Biden trying to ensure that as many federal workers as possible can stay home and work from home. Stephen Miller did not believe in that moving forward.
Donald Trump, again, he announced that federal workers are going to go back to the office because they work for you. Everyone watching us at home tonight, they work for you. Those federal workers, you pay their salaries. They need to show up at an office. And again, Donald Trump's going to rip up those agreements that allows those workers to work from home, although we all know what the federal workers are really doing is just absolutely nothing. Nothing at best. At worst, they're working against you and your family and your security. And he's going to say that you have to get back into the office. And he's also going to say the workers who betrayed the trust of the American people are going to be fired. And in cases where they violated the rights and liberties of the American people, they're going to face accountability. They are going to face justice. We are going to restore representative government and democracy in this country. And it's going to be a beautiful thing because Americans want control of their country again. And by voting for Donald Trump in this historic landslide, by giving him this historic mandate, the popular vote, the electoral college vote, by a vast margin, winning almost every demographic in this country, what they voted for is for Donald Trump to come into office, to open up an American energy, to defeat inflation, to eradicate criminal cartels, to seal the border shut, to send the criminal aliens home, to make government accountable to the people again, to get so-called DEI and racism out of government, to get the economy going, and to keep jobs here in this country by finally stopping the outsourcing and offshoring of American wealth. And all of those things are going to happen, and there's nothing in the world the angry, crazy Marxist radical left can do to stop it.
I really hope that everything he just said happens.
That's what I voted for.
That's what I voted for.
I love it, man. When you hear that enthusiasm and that conviction, you're like, that's what I want to see. Now you got to get it done. And that's going to be it is going to be a task, but I want to see it.
Rhino, the left is busy going, well, that just sounds mean. I'm like, we voted for mean.
Yeah. Look, the left is going to be left in the dust. That's what I feel. What I love about what's happening, and Carlos and I and you have talked about this for so long, there's a new right, and they don't care anymore. They're ready to just fix things and push everybody aside. We don't care about whether you think you're a man or a woman. You're going to benefit from this. We don't care what color you are. We don't care where you come from. If you came here illegally, you're going to benefit from this. This is for an America that needs to be the strongest country in the world. Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, all of them are going to push forward. And any establishment Republican, I think they've learned that if they're in the way, they are going to also get pushed aside. They're going to be primaried, and they have a good team to do that. Say what you want about Elon Musk throwing money behind people who aren't going to do the job. That's what we voted for.
Good. That's exactly what I want to see. You're seeing the same enthusiasm out of Mike Johnson too, Los. That's the other thing. You're starting to see the feathers fall into place. You know what I mean? Everything's kind of laying down the way it's supposed to and creating the path forward.
Well, I think the first 90 days, there's going to be a ton of energy. And I told you, the biggest thing that's going to happen is when the mass deportations start. that's when you're going to have Donald Trump losing political capital.
Yeah, sure.
That's when there's going to be people that are soft as hell Republicans that are going to go, why are we being mean to these people? Yeah, because this is what we voted for. And if you can steel your spine, then you'll be able to enjoy this sort of stuff. But that's what's going to happen. We got 90 days to get this stuff going before I believe he's going to start losing political capital because people are going to be like, why are you mean?
Is mean. Is doing the right thing mean. Is upholding the law mean. I would say for, people that have faced some of the horrors of what illegal immigration does, and look, we've felt it from coast to coast. Is that mean? Because I would say it was mean to Americans that have to face it. Mean to Americans that are having to put up with it. That's what's mean. If you're going to ask me what's mean, that's it.
See, if I was to, there's a certain way I can push this where even you would be uncomfortable. Because I can say, do you speak English?
Yes, I do.
Oh, no. But if you don't, should you be here?
Oh, well, look, you should assimilate. You should. Absolutely should assimilate.
But I can keep pushing this to a level where essentially it gets that now because I am who I am. I can be like, are you brown?
Are you brown?
Now you are laughing uncomfortably.
Yeah.
But this is what starts to happen is that these things get pushed to a point where people say, I'm not comfortable with that anymore because I don't feel that I can get away with this in polite society.
No,
that's all. And again, everyone has their limit. I just believe it's going to be very easy to hit some of these very soft spine Republicans.
Do you have a limit?
I don't really.
No, neither. I don't think either one of us have a limit. But I think that's.
I don't.
But you know what? But the reality.
I told you Clark Howard's a penis.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Last Friday.
The reality of it is, though, that's the kind of strength. Even Carlos. I mean, you have to not be afraid.
He's a good dude. I'm just saying.
What's up, boy?
Shout out, Mr. Penis. But you can't be afraid to confront somebody with the truth and tell them why it's going to benefit them instead of just running around circles. And I think that's what Stephen Miller is telling people. Hey, this is going to benefit everybody. And you can't be afraid to say, hey, to Republicans, by the way, I'm not even saying to Democrats, to Republicans, hey, shut up, sit down. You're not sending more money to Ukraine, Buddy Carter. You're going to listen to the people and the constituents in your area. And the same thing applies for every single person that works for us. The people.
It's not a challenge to myself or Rhino or Tug or even Joe. Because Joe, for the most part, I think kind of looks at things and goes, you know what, I agree with you guys on like 50% of stuff. It's logical. What happens is when the establishment gets challenged on either side of the aisle, that's when they start throwing up roadblocks. When they start worrying about, if you can put it in an ad against me, can that possibly take my power? So when you, as a Democrat or Republican, you vote to, let's say, spend, $5 million on enhancing border security, and that's a drop in the bucket. That's nothing. That's 2 seconds of government spending. And yet you will then have to worry about whoever goes against you will say, they voted to get rid of these people. Like, that's the way it gets played up. And so that's why the establishment always ends up backing down from this stuff on both sides of the aisle.
No, that's right. But I think the media who actually pushes the issue, because, I mean, and now with social media, it's a bit different because everybody has an avenue, everybody has a voice, everybody's the media. But I think mainstream media has overwhelmingly supported and backed everything the Democrats did, and so and then put the Republicans in their corner, right? And that ability is gone. The American people do not care what the media says anymore, and I think some of that stuff that used to work has lost its value.
And I hope that's changed, because we can go back to locally as close as 2021. When we had a bill that went through the Golden Dome, and it was to enhance the amount of voting in order to make sure that people could vote for longer, and here was how the rules were going to be. You had companies that decided we're saying that Georgia hates black people, and so they weren't allowing them to vote, and we lost an all-star game over it. It was the hype. It was the media hype. And so that never ended up being true.
No,
we've had record voting since that period, but That's where I really hope that this is not 2021 anymore, that in 2025, the media is so dead and has so little influence that when they start pushing their narratives, no one in power pays attention to it anymore because the common people are not paying attention to it anymore.
That's exactly
I'm not paying attention to it anymore.
Care less. There will be stories that catch traction. There will be. And you saw it a little bit during the Christmas holiday break with Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, and they talked about the Civil War and the Republican Party over the H-1B.
Yeah, they were trying to get that whole thing going.
Yeah, they're trying, and it didn't work.
No, they're trying to get this thing going. In fact, I was just seeing a tweet, and I don't know how she shows up in my timeline, but JoJo from Jersey.
Yeah, that's
she had her crazy thing about Republicans, and I told her something very simple.
Probably muted her a long time ago.
I told her something very simple. Calm down. Because you know that.
Calm down.
Dude, there's nothing more.
There's nothing worse you can tell a woman than calm down.
Yeah.
But that's the new America we're in now. I get to tell you to calm down.
Calm down.
Settle down.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Why don't you stop having an opinion?
Yeah. Do me a favor. Go over, grab the ironing board, a bunch of my shirts and an iron, relax for a while, and then come back and talk to me.
Oh, so crazy. They're all so crazy. All right, that'll do it for this hour. We'll be right back. 8 o'clock hour brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning. When confronted with his lies, Chuck Schumer does exactly what every politician does.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
The next couple of weeks going to be interesting as we move toward the inauguration of Donald Trump, the left-wing nightmare. Liberals, Democrats, they are beside themselves. They're losing their minds over this. A friend of mine, East Cobb, sent me a copy of a letter that he had taped to his mailbox. He had a Trump sign in his yard. Oh, my God. And the letter said this: "Hi, neighbor, you might not be aware that your Trump sign signifies hatred and division and looks repulsive in our neighborhood. It is synonymous with racism, misogyny, homophobia, and xenophobia." The letter writer forgot transphobia. We don't want our children looking up to bullies, liars, cheaters, or traitors, and your sign says that you are proud of supporting somebody who promotes these traits. It is offensive in so many ways. We believe in teaching our children better values than yours, like kindness, truth, and honesty. Hopefully, you were unaware of the message your sign sends to the residents who live here. It's truly not a good look, and we hope it wasn't intentional. Yeah, he put the sign out there by accident. Let's not define name of neighborhood with the negative values your sign speaks to. We are better than that. Decency is on the ballot, and we and our children know where you stand. As Maya Angelou wisely said, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Is this what you are? With concern, your neighbors. If I had this person on the radio and was interviewing them, number one, define racism. Then define homophobia. Now define xenophobia. And why did you forget transphobia? And they'd sit there, idiots. They're in every neighborhood. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail. But when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
This is WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. Locally owned and heard throughout Georgia on the...
Snow and ice from the Midwest to the Mid-Atlantic. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's affecting 60 million people.
A lot of Americans trying to restart work and school today. Well, here in Philadelphia, we get an extra day of winter break. Schools are closed.
And they're closed in many areas, from Kansas to Virginia, with about 300,000 power outages. And Fox Weather's Britta Merwin also reports Washington's getting it bad, too.
In D.C., a snow emergency has been called. Could be the biggest snowstorm they've seen in D.C. in years.
And there are almost 1,500 flights canceled nationwide. And despite the storm in Washington, Congress will gather in a special session to certify the Trump election victory 4 years after the Capitol riot when Trump supporters tried to block the Biden election win. The president-elect has called what happened a day of love. Despite about 1,600 people facing criminal charges, he has suggested he might pardon some. Democratic Senator Adam Schiff tells NBC's Meet the Press if Trump does that,
he will begin his new administration the way he ended his last administration, and that is by celebrating violence against our democracy.
President Biden has just issued a new ban on more offshore oil and gas drilling off the entire East Coast and parts of the Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico to preserve 625 million acres of ocean. Incoming Trump White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells Fox this is the work of Biden environmental extremists
who don't care about what's in the best interest of the American people who just reelected President Trump with a resounding mandate to drill, baby, drill.
Today, President Biden goes to New Orleans to meet with victims' families from the New Year's Day terror attack, saying at a gathering in Washington, greeting new members of Congress.
My message is going to be personal to them if I get to get them alone. They just have to hang on to each other.
14 people were killed in that attack. The Biden administration is being sued this morning by Nippon Steel and U.S. Steel, trying to rekindle their $15 billion merger that the president blocked last week, not allowing the Japanese company to buy the American steelmaker. America's listening to Fox.
If pain is affecting your life, I have the perfect New Year's resolution for you. Make 2025 the year of feeling good again, the year of moving better, sleeping better, feeling more alive, and do it with Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, it doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Over 1 million people have turned to Relief Factor. Feel the difference it can make in your life. Give their 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day, and it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. You can start feeling better in 3 weeks or less, and every day you feel better is a day you live better. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, make 2025 the year of feeling good again. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Look out, it's only me. It's only the Kimmer. You know, you can download the Kimmer podcast on the Extra 106.3 app, along with a ton of other great shows. Go get it, for crying out loud, now on Apple or Android.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra until 10. 404-741-1230. We've had calls from all over town and even international calls this morning from Canada. We appreciate everybody checking out the show and sharing it and discussing the things that we're talking about and bringing other topics to the table as well at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. If you're looking to communicate with us that way, it's super easy, super simple.
That's not international. That's the 51st state.
Well, it will be.
Will be.
Yeah, we're not there quite
so it's
yet.
still international.
Still right now.
Okay, gotcha.
But when it's the 51st state, then it won't be. It'll
Can't
be
wait to save them.
Be a local call.
And if you want to mock your leftist neighbors, I'm okay with that.
Yes.
I'm not saying mean, just mock.
Oh, I'll go all in mean.
Yeah. I'm for any and all of it. It's fine with me because it's so easy right now to get under liberals' skin. And you can simply do it with a smile.
Like, I didn't mean to do
or
this.
a hat.
Yeah, or a hat.
Don't even have to say anything.
Like, I didn't mean to do this to Joe Virgin River. but we started talking about an establishment that he's wearing the attire, and I brought up, all right, so what do they do well there? He's like, well, they do great wings. I was like, oh, cool. And you and I, Tug, started talking about we love smoked wings.
It's the best way.
And immediately he's like, well, I don't like smoked wings.
Oh, you know what? Discount.
Okay,
Bye.
so I kind of gave him the eye roll, and then he flat out told me, he just looked at me, he admitted defeat. He gave me his belly. He goes, it's because I'm fat. That's why he wants his wings fried. He's like, he ain't fighting it. I was like, listen, they're ready to give you the belly. And I didn't mean to go down that road.
I haven't had wings in quite some time, but now that Carlos gave me the whole hot ones, I don't know. He gave me that hot ones episode, so I've been like dying to get like extra hot wings. So I go to Sidelines yesterday to watch the games and do all that, and they're like, okay, I was like, can I split 10? They're like, yeah. I was like, I want XXX hot and hot. Their XXX hot was like, I don't know.
Wimp.
It was like mild, medium, maybe. I was so disappointed.
I used to love hot, and I don't. I'm starting to soften up a little bit. I don't love hot as much as I used to.
I need to find a place that has super hot wings now.
I love them going in.
I did, because we were packing up Christmas. We finally got most of Christmas down in our house yesterday. But I did watch Hot Ones with Peter Dinklage.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the dude from
Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Okay. Peter
He's
Dinklage,
a little person.
Yeah.
Yes. He might be one of the funniest dudes that's ever been on that show.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Like,
really?
he had the entire group,
What
everybody
season is
laughing. This is one from 2 months ago.
Okay.
And Peter Dinklage is one of, like, genuinely the funniest, smartest dudes that's ever been on that show.
That's
He's
awesome.
hilarious.
He's an angry little elf.
He's hilarious.
Call me
the
elf
entire
again.
time.
Kill me off again.
So good.
But you reckon, like, when you start watching it, because he was never asked about his size. He brought up his size, but he was pointing out how the roles that he's had, you're like, man, this dude's like a badass actor. Because I mean, he was to me in Game of Thrones, he was the star. Like, I loved watching Peter Dinklage on Game of Thrones.
I watched the very first episode of Game of Thrones. Never made it past that one.
Really?
Yeah, I checked.
I made it like 2 seasons in, and then I just kind of fell off of it. But he's right. I mean, Peter Dinklage was the only reason I was watching that show. He was my favorite part of that.
So watch Hot Ones. Watch Hot Ones with Peter Dinklage.
Also,
it's a good one.
See Khaleesi, without her
The
shirt
Khaleesi.
on and the Khaleesi.
What is it again?
The Khaleesi.
I don't know what that is.
It's the queen.
Oh,
queen.
yes.
You'll get around to it.
Okay, yeah.
Tug was watching. He saw one wiener and dropped out.
Yeah. He's like, there's just too much dudes making out with dudes for me.
Whatever.
I'm out. Yeah,
He's like reminded his time of the Navy.
That's
he was
right.
like, he's
I
like,
thought
oh,
I had
man.
escaped it. Turns out.
I thought Jason
Am I in the-
Momoa was great in that too.
Am I in the Gulf again? I got to get out of here.
Are we just are we underway in the middle of the night? What's happening? Yes, exactly right. I'm like, what is going on? Who would have thought? But yes. Anyway, the January 6th, we talked about how it wasn't an insurrection. We've talked about that for a long time. We talked about how that it's fitting. Right? The clouds and the stars are all lining up for Trump to be certified as the winner of the 2024 election on January 6th. Justin Trudeau's likely to step down today. We had a caller in from Canada today. I mean, just like this day couldn't line up any better. This was the day that Ted Turner bought the Braves back in 1976. I mean, all kinds of great things have happened, and it all comes down on today. Now, Chuck Schumer, he will lie to you about it, right? He's talked about Biden's decline, and he said, well, there's no decline. What are you talking about? And he was asked about it on NBC News, on Meet the Press. And when he was asked about it, he does exactly what every politician does when they're caught in a lie.
Obviously, there has been a lot of focus on President Biden's role in this. You were obviously in close contact with President Biden well before the public tuned into that debate that ultimately led to him stepping down. I want to play you a little bit of something you said last year. Take a look.
I talk to President Biden, regularly. Or sometimes several times in a week, or usually several times in a week. His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
Leader Schumer, what do you say to Americans who feel as though you and other top Democrats misled them about President Biden's mental acuity?
No, look, We didn't, and let's look at President Biden. He's had an amazing record. The legislation we passed, one of the most significant groups of legislation since since Lyndon Johnson's Great Society, putting in 235 judges, a record, and he's a patriot. He's a great guy. And when he stepped down, he did it on his own because he thought it was better not only for the Democratic Party, for America. We should all salute him.
Do you feel, as we have this conversation...
we can stop it there. It's just because it continues to get deeper and deeper and deeper. You need waiters to stand in it.
How many lies can you say in like 90 seconds?
But that's what politicians do.
Well, we forced him out because he's old and had dementia, and I lied to you for the longest amount of time in the interest of protecting our power.
He's not a hero. He's a coward.
Right.
President Biden is a coward. He stepped away from a bunch of wimpy people like Chuck Schumer and drunk Nancy Pelosi. That's the truth. And I found it funny because even throughout there, number one, what's he do? Well, that's just right-wing propaganda. This is such a joke. It wasn't propaganda. It was the truth. And it wasn't just right-wingers, by the way. It was Democrats and people like George Clooney who saw him and said, you know, enough's enough. I'm pulling all my money back. That's why. The other thing that I thought was funny was when he started talking about the new and then tried to switch it. These people are scumbags. Chuck Schumer, the Democrats, they were lying to the American people. Not only that, if you questioned it and said, hey, but this is what I saw, they'd go, that is not the old man you saw.
Consider that after that debate, when it was aired out to the entirety of the country, that Joe Biden was not a functional human being, that he could not work, he could not function. The first thing that they did was put him up on a stage, and what did Joe Biden say? You answered all the questions, Joe. You did great. Everybody great. It took, of all things, it took George Clooney to be like, we can't run this guy. He can't win because he can't function. And that was really what got that ball rolling when he had the editorial that he posted, and everyone said, oh my God, if George Clooney knows this after one meeting with him, what does the rest of the country think?
Everybody knew. Everybody knew, and it was spitting in your face and telling you it was raining to tell the American people that what you were seeing and you were hearing wasn't true. And I think that's why Americans, by and large, rejected everything that the Democrats had offered up. That's why it was a landslide for Trump. That's why he is going to inherit all branches of the government, because people are tired of being lied to. And people like Chuck Schumer doubling down, they don't even realize it. They still don't know, Rhino, why they lost.
No, they have no idea why they lost, but it's their lies, their rhetoric, and they haven't learned a lesson from that. The American people are done listening to them and listening to their lies. They're actually going to start investigating on their own, and I think that's what happened. They lost a huge amount of some of their base when it came to the minority communities that they thought they had in their pocket because, hey, we've lied to you. We've told you what we're going to do time after time. We're coming in. We're cleaning up your cities. We're taking care of you. By the way, the police suck. Get rid of them. I mean, this is what they told these people, but you'll be safer without the police. Go and do the things that you did. But I think people finally turned around and said, I don't believe you. I'm not going to believe you anymore. And then what do? They double down and say, hey, guess what? By the way, we're going to lie to you more. We're going to tell you this is what we're going to do for you. And this is how we're going to win next time. We're going to start listening to you. But why would you believe that at this point?
The minority leader in the Senate, you know, Chuck Schumer is basically the most powerful Democrat that exists as of now. All right? Like, that's where it's going to be. You can say what you want to about Hakeem Jeffries, but right now, because it's the Senate, it's Chuck Schumer.
Yep.
The fact that Chuck Schumer still can't tell the truth about what has gone on, man, I was worried about the Democrat Party actually having a come-to-Jesus meeting and being able to then rectify, what did we do wrong? How do we go about it? What they have done is they've doubled down on crapping on regular Americans.
Yeah.
They look at their loss as just that you were too stupid to understand how special we are for you.
Yeah.
And you know what they did? Then they did the unthinkable. They actually looked at the minority communities and said, you're too dumb to understand how good we are for you.
Yeah. And now the Democrats look at themselves as the party of the elite. And they embrace that.
They know better. They know better. Look, Chuck Schumer put a picture of him grilling a raw burger with cheese on it, and then he tells you this is one of the best burgers ever. There are two parts to that. Obviously, he doesn't know how to grill. Number two, he claims to be a great Jew, yet he's eating the most unkosher meal you could possibly put out there on that day.
Don't put cheese on a raw burger.
It's so weird, so strange. Then you have Democrats like Kathy Hochul who sit there and tell you that black people don't even know how to use or what a computer does. I mean, this is what they think of these people, and they've rejected them, and they will continue to reject them. They play all the games that they need to. Hakeem Jeffries hasn't stopped either, by the way. If you watched the round of voting and all the speeches, including Hakeem Jeffries, all it was divisive rhetoric once again.
Well, which is the Democrat that's going to come forward and point out, in the interest of power, we protected Joe Biden? Because that's going to be the first Democrat that wins.
None of them.
That's going to be the first one.
They won't be Democrats anymore.
Outside of Bill Maher, who's the only one who's actually been like, this is what we were doing.
John Stewart a little bit.
But until you have an elected official that says, here's what was going on, here's the reason why, you are not going to be able to get traction with regular Americans who, and a lot of them, as we all, as Gen X continues to grow in power, we've all dealt with family members that we recognize dementia. We saw it in the president for 4 years, and you told us during the entire time period that wasn't the case. Like, my grandmother is dealing with, early onset, a little bit of stuff here and there.
My grandmother, too.
And you see Joe Biden, and you go, I've seen that before.
Yeah, it's instantly recognizable.
Yes.
Remember, I told y'all we were sitting on the couch, and here's another thing. I don't know if there's Parkinson's involved. Of course, that's never been mentioned. But my father-in-law has Parkinson's. And as we were sitting on the couch watching the debate, my wife looks at me and says, Joe Biden really resembles my dad in his mannerisms, the things that he says, the things that are happening with him physically.
Gen X gets this.
Dude, and I told her, I said to her, I've seen that, I've noticed that, I've thought that, but I would have never said it. Now that you've said it, you're exactly right.
And by the way, my grandmother is 88 years old, and she's not running the free world.
No.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. That's the big difference.
Yeah.
That's a mighty big difference. But that's the way the Democrats are, man. Anything to ensure power, they will lie to you, and then they will lie to you about lying to you.
Oh, and then they'll cheat. And they'll continue to cheat. And then they'll tell you how, responsible they are with your money. Then you find out that they owe $43,000 of campaign financing fraud. And you'll see throughout the next few months, all of the people, especially here in Georgia, Sanford Bishop, also taking advantage of campaign finance laws, stealing from, the people and using their taxpayer money for lavish parties. This is what the elite do. And this is what the Democrats continue to do. And at the same time, they tell you, well, we're trying to find money for you. I can't right now, though. My limo's leaving and I gotta go because my wife, I just bought her a new necklace with your money.
Got some things I gotta tend to, but I'll come back around to you. Don't worry. I'm on your side.
We're here for you.
Then you have more violence in the streets in the United States. People are fed up with that. People are tired of it. Being able to steal up to $1,000, which is the dumbest thing in the history of the world, and yet the Democrats were actually able to do that. Now, I don't think anybody bought into it. Anybody thought it was okay, but they were able to do it. But that's the thing. There are blue cities and blue states that are dealing with... Now, we're all dealing with crime because of the invasion that we've experienced in the last 4 years. But specifically, these blue cities and states are really, really suffering from it.
Yeah, this is a culture problem at this point. It has nothing to do with any race, religion, sexuality, none of it. This is the culture of the Democrat Party. They're a violent party. They're the most violent party in the history of politics, as far as I'm concerned. And you know what? They accept it. Look what they did here in the city of Atlanta. They turned everybody against the police, told them that they don't need the police. They're bad for you. They're racist. They're this, that, and the other. And now those people are going, hold on. We need more police presence here. Here's a guy on a MARTA bus who just got shot by 2 young kids. We need more police presence. Wait a minute. You want more police presence? You want training for our police in Atlanta? No. Too bad.
You said no. I thought you rejected that.
Too bad. You know what? It's time to reject these blue cities. Carlos has said it so many times. Let the cities go.
There's a mentality that you just can't get away from. These people actually believe as a group that they are the enlightened ones, and so they will allow this amount of crime in the interest of, well, our enlightenment says that we understand people in this way, and so we'll just allow this to go on. Because you can't change that mentality, you're never going to fix the cities. The cities are gone.
Yeah.
Let them go.
Let them go.
Unless you do what Bukele did in El Salvador. Start locking it down. And let me tell you, that has been successful. Are there people that got caught up in there and were innocent and prompt?
Absolutely.
Yes.
They were let go,
from
though.
the high. Right. Well, no, they weren't.
They were let go after. They found out that these people weren't criminals. They weren't the bad ones. They got swept up. A lot of people did.
I bet there's
some
still
of them
people.
were gone.
I bet there's still people in those jails that are not guilty.
If you had an Atlanta mayor that came out tomorrow and said, we're going to lock up every criminal, we're going to clean up our streets, do you realize the backlash that person would take? Because you know what the first thing they would be told? Why are you going after minority Atlanta?
Yeah, sure. That's
and
it.
they would back down immediately.
Yeah, the white liberals will come in and then play that game again and saying, why are you going after them? Even though these people and people in those communities are saying, and again, this is a culture saying, hey, we need help. Even in New York, they had a 16-year-old that was shot in October. So what did they do? They have a vigil. What happens? 10 people were shot during the vigil. No police around. This has become a problem. Let the cities burn themselves down.
Statistically, the biggest threat to cities, so even here in Atlanta, white liberal women.
Yes.
They're the ones that back all of this craziness, more so than anybody else.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. But the problem is, if you let the cities burn, they're going to end up, the culture will follow it. They will leave that burn down, and then they will come to where you live in the suburbs and then burn that down too. That's the thing that'll happen. The crime will navigate somewhere when they finally burned the city of Atlanta all the way down to the ground. That's the fear you need to have. 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. Give them a call today, 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. Windows, doors, gutters, roofs. They do it all. When we come back, we'll knock out headlines, and then it is the end of the Obama era. It is here.
From the latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust, your best new follow on social media is Xtra 1063. We're at XTRA 1063 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Xtra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Xtra 1063 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
It's here. It's called winter. Is your furnace ready to make sure you're warm inside and you keep the cold weather outside? Well, if you're not sure, you need to talk to the folks at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Central Heating and Air is one of the few second-generation locally owned HVAC companies in Atlanta. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. It's been that way since 1947, and it's still that way today. Give Central a call at 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. Central Heating and Air Conditioning can fix what ails your house and possibly your family with home ventilation and air quality products. Central has packages designed around health using variable speed, fresh air ventilation, air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and more. Carrier products, carrier warranty, carrier peace of mind. Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert since 1947. Call 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. That's 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
For half a century, glyphosate has affordably and effectively protected Georgia farmers' crops from invasive weeds. Without it, the impact would be felt beyond the fields, hitting Americans where it hurts, our wallets. That's why the Modern Ag Alliance advocates for farmers' continued access to essential crop protection tools so food prices don't rise even more. Get the facts at controlweedsnotfarming.com. Paid for by the Modern Ag Alliance in support of Georgia farmers.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction which it is unlawful.
Markets are at all-time highs. The economy seems unstoppable. A strange kind of euphoria has set in. But the last administration has buried us so far in debt and deficits, it's going to take a lot of digging to get us out of this hole. Are you prepared for change overnight? Lear Capital specializes in helping people like you protect and grow wealth with gold, no matter the uncertainty. Whether protecting assets, diversifying your portfolio, or navigating through record-high debt and deficits, gold is the best way to hold the value of the dollars you have saved as your legacy, your retirement, and you need to have a portion of your portfolio in gold or silver. Don't wait. The best time to prepare for uncertainty ahead is right now. Call Lear today, 800-889-3070 for your free gold ownership kit and a special report, $4,400 gold ahead. When you call, ask how you can also get up to $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualifying purchase. That's 800-889-3070, 800-889-3070.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Monday, January 6th, 2025. Leroy Ramos, a 47-year-old MARTA bus driver, leaves behind a wife, 2 daughters, and a son after being fatally shot during a dispute over a bus fare. Union workers and loved ones gathered on Sunday at Decatur MARTA station for a balloon release to honor Ramos. Police have arrested 2 juvenile suspects so far and are searching for a third who remains at large. Ramos' loved ones have started an online fundraiser to help cover funeral costs. Gwinnett County police are investigating the shooting of a 15-year-old at the Mall of Georgia on Saturday night. Police arrested 18-year-old Caden Javar Williams of DeKalb County and charged him with aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. He is being held without bond. And in business news this morning, the 10-year Treasury yield rose by more than 2 basis points to 4.6%, while the 2-year Treasury was up by less than 1 basis point to 4.2%. Investors are awaiting key jobs data set to be published throughout the week. Meanwhile, U.S. equity futures showed little movement this morning. Futures tied to the Dow were flat. S&P futures gained 0.16%, and NASDAQ futures rose 0.24%. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Extra 1063.
9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. Windows, doors, gutters, gutter toppers, roof, they can do it all. Southern Exteriors. Call them today, 8779-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. Especially all this rain, if you're starting to notice a little soft spot, little wet spots in the ceiling, the worst thing that could possibly happen to your home, your biggest investment is to allow water inside. So do not do that. Call Southern Exteriors today. They are standing by waiting for your call.
We got a lot of friends that work in the real estate business, and they have pointed out so many of when you're trying to get the best insurance rates, have a roof that's taken care of. I was like, if you've got an older roof, you want to get that taken care of because right now it's hard to get financing and get insurance taken care of on a home if you've got like a 25-year-old roof. Good luck to you.
Yeah, no kidding. Because that water that I was just talking about is
so much damage.
Most damaging. And just what it can do after it's inside is just, limitless. It's a list as long as your arm.
Mold's never killed anybody.
No, by no means. It's
totally
good.
fine. Black mold.
Black mold's great. I hear it's good for your lungs.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like when you're in a coal miner in Kentucky or something. It's good for your lungs.
I just go to Big Pharma, find what'll fix it, and I'm good.
Of course, they would never mislead you by any means.
So if you don't want black mold. You don't want to be sick.
Call Southern Exteriors.
Call Southern Exteriors.
877-9-Southern, southernexteriors.ca.
That boy band is ready.
Than calling Big Pharma then.
That right, and you won't have black lung.
Yeah, that sounds great.
See, that's a... Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, now I caught it. I'm going home.
Rhino's got black lung all of a sudden. Goodness.
Can we get a snow day Friday? Like, can this possibly happen? Like, we brought it up to start the show. I just want to drive it home one more time.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
you just need to pray.
I just don't
continue to pray like I am.
We're going to be in the 30s with 75% chance of precipitation.
Here's what
20s before
my son used to do when he was a little kid, and apparently my wife used to do this as a young girl. They would put a spoon under their pillow. That was their good luck charm.
Really?
I have no idea where it came
That's
from.
weird.
I know nothing about it. I just remember when Laura introduced it to Jacob as a kid, and he would put a spoon under his pillow hoping that it was going to snow, and of course it never happened. And I was like, how long can you keep this
going to happen this time
going?
Well, maybe it's the wrong spoon.
Maybe.
They got to be silver. Can you do it with a plastic spoon?
I don't think it matters. It was just a spoon under your pillow.
Aluminum.
Did you find something? Did you look it up?
So I had to look it up. So there are people that I know in my family, mostly the Spanish end, that really believe in the ojo. The evil eye.
The evil eye, yeah.
And they'll put an egg underneath their bed in order to, envious people, jealousy, they use the egg to sop that up so it doesn't taint you.
Well, at least that makes sense. Spoon and snow don't go together at all.
What's the other one?
Dude, I'd sooner put a spoon underneath my bed than an egg.
There's another one with rocks that you paint and put under your bed to get away. I forgot what that one was.
Yeah, I don't know. But when you talk about sopping it up, that's when it made sense to me. Because that's what I did yesterday
Like
for
a
breakfast.
biscuit?
Yeah, I was all sopping it up.
Yeah.
Sopping up that egg.
Now, I'd put hard-boiled eggs under my bed and then just eat them throughout the night.
Wake up hungry.
Like snacks.
I sleep on a biscuit.
That's right.
And I use it as a utensil.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Good.
I don't know why you're yelling. I mean, forever when I was a kid, we used to put bags of chips under our bed to keep away the bad spirits.
That's right. Lay's potato chips do a good job of keeping away barbecue, especially because they're afraid of that fire.
Mm-hmm. There's also Reese's peanut butter cups under there, and that's just, for better luck in the future.
That's right, because peanut butter's really lucky. Just make it up as you go.
Yeah, make it up.
I love it.
All my fattening food's hiding under the bed.
Yeah, it's similar to what the Democrats do. They just make it up as they go. I sometimes think that maybe they've been planning this this collapse their entire existence. I don't know, but I'll tell you, the end of an era or an error, depending on how you look at it, is now. The fact that the Obama era is come to an end because nobody believes in his way of governing anymore. Nobody thinks that the things that he did were good. Lowe's says it all the time. No one cared for Obama's policies, but they were attracted to him because he was such a good salesman. He was such a good statesman, if you will.
He remained popular even though his policies were unpopular and did not poll well.
That's right. Do you think Democrats right now are like, okay, what's next? Do you think the Democrats realize that the end of this era has come? Because you know it, I know it, and Lowe's knows it. I don't know that they know it either. No. I know, and their actions, like with Chuck Schumer on Meet the Press, doubling down on Joe Biden was just fine. I didn't lie to you about that. Mm-hmm. That would tell me that they don't at least want to move on from that part of the Obama way of governing.
No way whatsoever. Now, I think that they have kind of transformed that way of governing to be more violent and a lot more rhetoric and a lot more of the protesting and destroying cities. But I think that Barack Obama is pretty much done, over, gone by. But I don't think that it's going to change the way that Democrats are continuing. They'll still do the same things that Barack Obama wanted. They just repackage it and make you feel guilty in another way.
Well, it's going to be the lingering effects because they still believe that this is a winning formula, even though they just lost a popular vote for the first time in 20 years and got smashed in the Electoral College. The minute somebody becomes the dad in the room and explains to them identity politics in this country, for now, is over.
Yeah. And how long does that last?
The minute you continue to put people into boxes, we have progressed to the point in this country where it's when they talk about dog whistles, we go, oh, that's craziness, that's communism, I'm not going to pay attention to this. Whenever you start talking about, the Hispanic community, the black community, the trans community, I know that the next thing out of your mouth is going to be leftist ideology, and I'm not voting for it.
Joe Biden mandated race preferences and DEI rules across 90 different federal agencies. And Americans have said, enough. It is content of your character, not color of your skin. It is the merit that you earn, not what you're handed. And evidence of that is just the smashing at the polls that Kamala Harris got. That was the clear rejection of that.
Yeah, but you know what? They will regroup and distract and then start up you need the government, you need us, let us work for you.
That's the
people will listen. People are always looking for a free handout. That hasn't changed throughout history. So I think it'll still continue to be down that path because Democrats are so good at telling groups that they're not good at things. You're never going to be smart enough to learn how to work a computer. You're never going to get out of poverty, so abort your children. They're so good at spinning that to make it sound good. Oh my gosh, you should defund the police because they're not there to protect you. Go out there. They never fight the real issues, the real problem. The problem isn't that the border's wide open, is it? No, not at all. They're only good people are coming across. And look, I don't think it changes. I don't think the Democrats change their way. I don't see them getting more moderate. I think the smart ones will.
We are in the situation where when you're enjoying good times, that was built by strong men. And the whole idea is that weak men make bad times.
Yeah.
We are in a period of weakness. Our dollar has had the lowest amount of value that it's had in 40 years. We are not in an economic condition where we can be very comfortable. We're $36 trillion in debt. All of these things make it to where the last thing that people want to hear right now is, well, you're the victim and I'll fix it. I'm like, okay, I know that you're BSing me. But once we get back to a position where we are suddenly back to being economically profitable and comfortable, that's when people lower their guard and they start listening to the BS that the Democrats are trying to sell them.
Fat and happy. Like if Trump is successful, we'll have this. We'll be right back to where we are. But it'll cycle back around because people will be fat and happy, successful. And their mind won't be on the economy anymore.
It'll be back over to social issues. I'm so comfortable. I want to listen to how I'm a bad person.
Yeah, it's the cycle.
Well, our kids don't need to go to schools anymore. All they have to do is go to the dog play center. Let them all be furries, whatever crazy things they come up with. But I don't think it's going to change. Look, Adam Schiff the other day, he just comes out and talks about how Kash Patel is so dangerous and this New Orleans bombing shows why Kash Patel shouldn't be in charge. That's the reality they live in. Instead of most Americans are going, hold on one second, Adam Schiff. You guys are the one in charge of the FBI. You're the ones who have been in charge, and you didn't do anything to combat it, even though this guy's been putting out social media all day, every day about joining ISIS, wanting to do something like this and all this, and you're blaming Kash Patel, who's not even in office. This is what Democrats do, distract from the truth, turn down what, Americans think and say when they say, hey, you're failing us. The economy sucks because of you. They try to throw it in somebody else's plate, and people fall for it.
Everything is a clapback. And regardless of which way the country moves, there's always a clapback in the other direction. Because there are times where we're going to move in a direction that is going to be more so further right. And then there's going to be this, maybe we went too far. And whatever that ends up being, whether it's gay marriage or whether it's some sort of crazy pharmaceutical, standpoint where it's like, here, we had too much freedom. Now we got to take away this freedom. There's always that adjustment that goes on. We get to enjoy the fact that the country went so far left for 4 years that we're going to enjoy a period, I don't know how long it's going to last, where we are going to move much more towards the center. At some point, we're going to move back the other direction. So that's why we talk about these 90 days, these 2 years in office. Enjoy them and be aggressive. Get after it while you can.
The clapback right now, to your point, is Donald Trump was elected. That was the clapback from the
For
liberal
4 years of
DAs and
craziness.
4 years
Yep.
of craziness.
Yep.
So that just will continue.
When Rhino told you they're going to take his picture and give a mugshot, and he's
done.
like, "Watch what happens."
Yep.
That's what happened.
Look, and I think Carlos is right on. You got the next 90 days. You got time. You got 2 years, really, to get legislation through. That's the importance of bringing everybody to Mar-a-Lago and saying, hey, we're all on the same page. And if you're not, get out. Get out right now, because the American people don't want to hear your sob story about how you need to keep power and how you're going to play both sides and play with the Democrats when all they're doing is leading us to the destruction of the American dollar and really this republic. And they want to tear this down and the way of life. So if you want to be in the way, get out of the way now. And it needs to continue down that way. And I hope it does, because the reality is, I can guarantee you right now, if you were to say, hey, here are the new rules. By the way, all you senators, all of you, you get paid way too much for not doing anything, so we're going to cut your salary. Because that's the reality. Instead of them giving themselves raises every 6 months, we should be cutting them down to a minimal salary.
Absolutely.
Their expenses and everything should be paid for, whatever, but your salary shouldn't. Also, your term limits, watch how quick they all leave.
Your expenses should be handled, and I mean a minimal salary. You should desire to work for the American people when you go to
Not
DC.
lobbyists, by the way.
That's right. On top of that, it should be a task for you to do it. It shouldn't be easy for you to be a governor. You should, or a government employee, a senator, a representative in some way. It should cost you to go do that.
You should love your country enough to do it.
I know plenty of people that volunteer for all kinds of things, and it costs them. Teachers, when they're teaching in the classroom, and the money that they spend, it costs them to do the work to educate your children. And they're willing to take that on because most of them care about the children.
You would think, right? Yep, absolutely. Our politicians aren't that way. You know what they do? Hey, give me all your campaign money so I can spend it on myself and then pretend like it's ethically okay. It's a quick way to get rich, and that's what they care about, not the actual country.
It should cost you to serve, and you should be okay with it. 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. When we come back, Joe Rogan, he validated all of our conspiracies.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
The Atlanta Falcons season has come to an end. With the Buccaneers beating the Saints, the Falcons were eliminated from the playoffs, but still had a chance to go out with a winning record. Rookie QB Michael Penix Jr. shined with 312 yards, 2 passing TDs, and a rushing touchdown, as did Bijan Robinson, who ran for 170 yards and 2 TDs. But the defense couldn't buy a stop as they lost to the Panthers 38-44 in overtime, giving the Falcons their 7th losing season in a row. Now it's time to look towards the offseason and the draft, where Atlanta will have the 15th pick. For Extra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
Hey, it's Los. Let's talk about Howard Brothers and Skag Mowers. Now, I know we've got the cold that's going to roll into Atlanta, but before you know it, we're going to start warming up. It's going to get into springtime, and you want to be the envy of the neighborhood when it comes to your lawn. With Skag Mowers from Howard Brothers, you can create those perfect professional stripes that turn heads every single time. Skag Mowers are built for power and reliability, making them the ultimate tool for lawn enthusiasts and pros alike. Don't wait around for spring to sneak up on you, all right? Get on this now. Gear up now and get ahead of the season. See why Skag is the choice for beautiful stripe worth lawns. You can find their line of mowers at Howard Brothers. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Skag and with Howard Brothers.
A musician with technical knowledge can play all the right notes, but one who cares enough to play from the heart gives music soul. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking, because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
The new year means new health goals, not just for your body, but your finances too. Your personal info is in so many places that are outside of your control. It only takes one mistake, and not even your mistake, to expose you to identity theft and lost funds. If your identity's stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back, and resolve to make identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Hi, I'm Jaron Solomon from Solomon Brothers Jewelers, here to tell you about an incredible event going on the entire month of January at all 3 of our showrooms. It's Solomon Brothers Jewelers' January Bling Back event. All this month, bring in your old gold jewelry, watches, diamonds, and more, and let us buy them back for cash. Now is the best time to sell your old jewelry because the price of gold is the highest it's ever been, and we will pay you top dollar for all your old pieces. So go through your jewelry box, pick out the pieces you don't wear anymore, then bring them into Solomon Brothers and let us buy them back. We'll take the all gold necklaces, rings, tennis bracelets, earrings, pendants, and more. If it's old and it's gold, don't miss our January Bling Back event. Your opportunity to turn your old jewelry into cash. Going on all month long at all 3 of our Solomon Brothers showrooms on Peachtree Road in Buckhead, Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta, and on Fisher Crossing Drive in Sharpsburg. You can learn more and always shop online at SolomonBrothers.com or on Instagram at Solomon Brothers.
Extra 106.3 is proud to be your conservative voice in Atlanta, and we offer a huge slate of original podcasts. Head over to thepodcastpark.com and grab the podcast that you love, all presented by Associated Credit Union.
Doug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. Getting ready to wind down the first full day of the new year.
You want a slingshot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had so many growing. We get them at the flea market every weekend. I bet I had a collection.
Not in New York.
See, yeah, but that's, yeah.
So you can strike the Philistine.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So in case good Lord called me and I need to strike somebody down.
That's right.
You know, up in front of the church house.
I'm going to strike the Philistine.
That's right there in the forehead. Bam! Get on the ground, giant. Told you what was coming. So in New York, you couldn't get a slingshot.
No. We called them wrist rockets up there because they'd like attach to your wrist. But yeah, they were illegal. So you'd have to go to like these Canal Street and Chinatown and go in these back stores. They'd
sell the Mogwais.
Yeah, they sell the Mogwais and all those good things.
It's a Gremlins reference. That's awesome.
They would sell Chinese stars. You could buy those there. I would buy butterfly knives. No, you couldn't do that.
Big D's Flea Market, Cleveland Highway, Dalton, Georgia, buddy. You can get all that stuff.
Oh, not in New York, man.
God.
Oh, you walk out of there like you just bought all the cocaine in the world, and really you have like a Chinese star that's Batman shaped.
You actually made the point about you can buy an animal that if you get it wet, it multiplies.
And then turns evil.
If you feed it after midnight, it turns into a killer.
Oh, gosh.
Dude,
Well, they now have better instructions on those when you go get one.
Gremlins is such an underrated movie.
Yeah.
So underrated. And that's another Christmas movie.
Did they redo that, or are they going to redo it?
No, that's one of them. Yeah. What did we get? We got Gremlins 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And that was
there was a third one, wasn't there?
I don't remember. Maybe
no, I remember seeing the first 2.
I remember 2.
Yeah, I remember the second one. It was when Stripe was in. He was in a suit.
A suit. He took over
Yeah, he was super good.
That's the one with the female gremlin and the lightning gremlin.
All of it. Yeah, dude, that's good. So
was
there a 3?
There is a third one.
I told you. I think I saw
released,
that dumb thing.
Get ready for 2025.
Oh, meaning a new one.
Oh, there's a new one coming.
So wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Gremlins 3.
Let's go.
Trailer for 2025.
Okay, I'd watch that.
Uncivilized. I remember
because
that was the
I
thing.
can't imagine it holding up. I mean, they got to look like ridiculous puppets at this point, right?
I don't know. I watched it recently, and
did it hold up?
I think it does, but the special
That's a
effects
Christmas
aren't
movie,
great.
too.
It definitely is. It all at Christmas time, yes.
Yeah.
Which makes it a Christmas movie.
I should watch it this week.
Yeah,
It is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it's a Christmas gift.
Yes, that's right. The whole point is that he got this Christmas gift from his daddy, a Cats in the Cradle thing. Daddy worked too much, brought him a mogwai, turned into a gremlin, tore down the town. I mean, goodness.
It happens.
It does once in a while.
Tale as old as time.
That's right, Joey. Thank you.
I wonder what other kind of animals they have back in there.
I don't know. Chinese stars, probably.
I love those things.
And slingshots back there.
Oh, we got a problem.
Switchblades.
Gremlins 3, Curse of the Mogwai was scheduled for 2023.
Oh, no.
So we have a problem that it's not been released.
Oh. Did they actually film it?
I'm seeing a trailer for it.
I read that there weren't enough diverse gremlins.
That's what happened.
Yeah,
They were all too green.
Yeah.
Well, now wasn't there a trans gremlin in the first one that wore?
Yes,
there was one that was.
Which, I mean, I don't know if it was trans because I don't know if it was a boy or a girl. There's no way for me to know that.
I think it was a dude, but he didn't care.
Okay, I just remember. I do remember the one wearing the pink dress and the lipstick and all that.
I think that was a dude.
Maybe. I don't know. I never thought of it.
Maybe it realized, I don't know.
Yeah, it's impossible to know.
Now we gotta know.
Now you have to go back and watch it and find out.
Because that would be like groundbreaking for Gremlins then, right? To have the first like trans actor.
It would be early on.
Yeah.
Before anybody was
It's my
really down
favorite
with it.
trans actor now.
You had Phoebe Cates was about the only person in terms of the Gremlin movie, the initial one where you went, oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember she was the
big one.
girlfriend.
Yeah,
was she was Billy's girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I guess we'll have to wait to find out about the new Gremlins. Is that ever going to come out? Because let me tell you, I would be down with it. I would. Oh, and it seems like Flounder may have just sent us the green-haired female Gremlin, or what?
Yeah, he did.
Or is that you, Joe?
That was me.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I looked at it wrong.
No, Flounder doesn't have time for this stuff.
Well, I just saw him a minute ago.
I know. By the way, do you not feel for that man that he's here 6 hours ahead of time?
Yeah.
Because the amount of work he's got to knock
Yes,
out?
I do. Yeah. He and I will be doing it together on this.
He's just
Back Your Blue is up as soon as the show's
Okay.
done. Yeah, so we partner on that.
But I mean, it takes hours
It
to
does.
get Kimmer ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, and
he's like a sports car.
He is.
That's like
also-
a NASCAR. It takes time.
He also has to fill out all the HR paperwork for all the complaints for Bella and all them too.
Hair smells good.
Tried to tell Bella that the boys were talking about her late in the show on Friday, and they were commenting on her hair, which we don't do that because we don't want to give Bella a big head because we have to deal with her on a regular basis.
I bring her down every single time I see her. So keep her in check.
Down and bring her down.
Because she walks around pretty egotistically,
She's
kind of
very, very proud.
Yeah, very proud. So we have to tell her on a regular basis. Now, nothing mean, but hey, like, are those? How old are those shoes?
Yeah, that's what
you say stuff like that.
Are those garbage?
And I
pants?
don't know, but I think she may have grown up with a silver spoon in her mouth.
Oh God, yes.
I'm not sure about.
I already know that.
Well, right.
Oh, I mean, she looks at you and she's like, Dalton, huh?
Yeah,
Dalton.
It's right down
Is
her
that
nose.
a real town?
Yeah, right down her nose.
Yeah,
Like
I bet you guys didn't have a Saks Fifth Avenue.
We did not. I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
I swear I didn't know what a Saks Fifth Avenue was. I think I may have saw it in a movie, but never just.
I'm
put it
fairly
together.
certain she had people that cleaned her house regularly.
She asked me, you think Tug ever had like steak, like a real one?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, what? Jeez.
Yeah, she thinks that you were like spam.
I bet they
like
don't know
spam born.
We did love spam.
Yeah, that's what she thought.
That's not wrong.
She was judging.
Oh yeah,
right.
She said, "I bet he's never seen a lobster." I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now?" His son goes to why you like
That's true.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
she threw out again seafood.
My parents did not eat seafood.
Neither did mine.
Neither one. Neither mom nor dad. They wanted no part of it. Once in a great while, we'd go to Captain D's and get some fried fish.
Oh, yeah.
Like that fried cod
Hush
or whatever.
puppies are about as far as we got.
Puppies,
Really?
But once in a great while, we'd get some fried
It's
fish
so
at Captain D's.
funny.
That was about it. Though.
So
nothing fresh.
My grandfather was kosher for a while, so you can't have any kind of seafood. Like as a Jew, you don't eat seafood. And my
I thought that was the one thing you could eat.
No.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I don't know.
No,
Sorry.
ham, seafood, no way.
Because back in the day, them's a kill you.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking of the Catholics.
Oh, yeah.
On Fridays, don't they have the fish fries or whatever? I just got that mixed up. Sorry.
My grandfather gave up everything when he had lobster.
Got it.
And then he was like, forget it. It's all over. We're going to eat lobster, shrimp. So we grew up.
Then he got a giant back tattoo, so he couldn't be in a Jewish cemetery.
That's right. He bought a boat. He's like, let's go get it ourselves, because we're still Jewish. We didn't want to pay high dollar. We wanted to go and grab it from the ocean ourselves. It was great.
How bad is it that I mixed up Judaism and Catholicism?
And you know what?
I mixed them up.
It's so much alike.
I didn't. I don't know
in
enough
certain
about
ways.
it. Much about
There's a lot of rules.
Yeah, I don't know much about either one of them.
Yeah.
Growing up in Southern Baptist Church, there's a lot of rules too. It was, but I guess it's very different.
Well, look, Jews have gotten to the point where they kind of like backed off. So now you have like different. You have Reform, Orthodox, and then you have Conservative. And the Reforms are like, when do we need to come? Like, can we just come on like Saturday every once in a while?
Walk?
Yeah,
Is it
like
a temple?
I'm not gonna walk.
Is it? I hope I said
I'm not
this
keeping
right.
kosher.
Is it Messianic Jews that are Jews for Jesus? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
I just want to make, because I don't want to say it
Yeah,
wrong,
we think
because I
they're
don't
the
know.
crazy people.
Are they?
Yeah.
Because we had some,
They're not real Jews.
Real? Okay, well, these people grew up Jewish in New York that were our neighbors. and
Oh,
were
yeah,
Jews
they
for
went
Jesus.
to the Jews for Jesus side.
Yeah,
Cool.
and let me tell you, the nicest folks you ever met in your whole
Oh,
life.
yeah, they're great.
I loved them. We
Jews
still
just
keep
think
up.
they're the crazy people.
They're okay. Got it. They live down in Fort Lauderdale nowadays, but
Well, you know, they must be a little more Jewish than you think. Because that's
because
like,
they went to Fort Lauderdale.
man,
That's funny.
I don't know one Jewish family member that didn't say, we're going to grow up in New York and you're going to stay here until you retire. Then you go to Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Florida, obviously,
sure.
Or Jupiter, West Palm. That's it.
That's the
like
spot.
they're all there.
That's the spot. I love it. That's great.
I
That's
run
where
into
they are.
like family members. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even know you're here.
Are you? I didn't know you're still alive.
Yeah, we just left and got here.
That's great. Super, super good. This is the kind of hard-hitting conversation you don't get many places. We just here on Extra 106.3. That's it.
That's right. It's the only place where you can talk about Judaism.
Yeah, right. Which I have so much to learn because I don't know that much.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to hear it on a woke socialist broadcasting company because they all don't like Jews.
Oh, well.
That's what I heard.
That's terrible news. I hate that.
Listen, I'm honorary, so, I'm
Yeah,
good.
that's true. Carlos grew up that way, went to bar mitzvahs. He's already in.
Right.
That's right.
So you're invited.
We had 3 synagogues that were right around our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a 16th. I brought you in.
16th, yep.
Yeah.
I
sent your name to the temple to call you.
My great-grandfather, whichever one it be, was
let me ask you the critical question.
Yeah.
Have you ever made a basket, as in hoops, at the JCC?
I've never. Nope, never
Okay,
been
well
invited.
then that's how you know.
I've never been invited.
Yeah.
No, I've never.
Listen,
I've drained threes at the JCC.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
the
a good
Jewish
time.
Community Center.
Yeah.
I don't get the whole thing with Jewish basketball because they're very short people in general.
Yeah.
But way back when we had 680, it was Steak Shapiro and Arnie. Arnie Spaniard was at 680. Steak was over at 790, and I went to the big Jew basketball game there, and it was intense, man.
All right.
Yeah,
Until you're shooting
intense.
hoops at the JCC, you don't know how it goes.
You could drain some. You're like the man.
My favorite person to ever live on earth was Jewish. Jesus.
That's right.
So I'm in. I'm down for the cause.
Oh, you're in good company.
That's exactly. There you go. All right, well, that'll do it for us. We're going to turn this thing over to the Glenn Beck program. I swear we'll get to what Joe Rogan validated for
We'll
us.
save it for tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
All conspiracy theories being validated these days.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory until it comes true. And that's what happened a whole bunch. So for Rhino, Los, and Board Up, Captain Goey, Virgin River, my name is Tug. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Hey, it's Flounder, and The Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
There's anything that personifies the narcissistic nature of these people, and I'm saying these people, that they want to be known as like the royal we, that I am so important, that you are just a you. Yeah. You're just singular. Well, I'm plural. I must be known as plural because I'm greater than you. It's pure narcissism.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.